Better leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Bunchu, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like the Brown James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Reviews not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum entities. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I got a shout out
Started
to
off with a
40.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
Freaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in shoes. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. Had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the drive with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, GM. Thanks so much for joining us. If you haven't already done so, do us a favor, drop us a GM in the chat down below, then head up top, smash that like, repost, and bookmark on today's space. We greatly appreciate it. Warms up the algo, lets everyone know we're here. Shout out to all the YouTubers over there. We got Von Frunton, RDL. RDL hits up all the chats, our best GMer in the chats. We're also live on Abstract over on Steve's account today, as well as the X video feed from Steve's account. Appreciate all of you. Morning to you, Diablito. Hope the horses are treating you well. My digital ponies aren't doing too bad. But as always, I'm Cap Jim, my co-host Steve. Never any financial advice in the show. Crypto is risky. NFTs are risky. Meme coins exceptionally risky and go to zero to moment's notice. Please don't put any money in you can't afford to lose. Know that Steve and I also hold tokens we'll talk about from time to time here on the show. We're not financial advisors, certainly not your financial advisor. So just join us for some fun, some information, and maybe a little bit of education along the way. GM Steve, how you doing, sir?
GM, doing well. Just getting myself all situated this morning. Good day yesterday. Ripped a few more V-Friends packs. Pretty busy week in the Bark household, though. It's one of those weeks where it's like we have soccer practice and choir concerts and soccer games. A soccer game that's double booked with an open house and deciding if we want to hit the open house for like 10 minutes or if we just want to skip it and go to the soccer game. And it's a big old mess around here, but good stuff in general. Feeling pretty good about the market. It's taking a little bit of a breather, but could be certainly worse. Give us a like, a retweet, a comment, by the way. Good to see all the GMs out there. I know Cap hit the YouTube and the video folks. Mesh, Thomas, Teacher Katie, B Epic, Diablito, General Wide, Green Edge coming in strong. on the chat there. Baseball practice crushed me last night. Be Epic still playing baseball apparently. Good on Be Epic. Give me the going into the X Space, Mel, Clay, RisBrian out there grinding for his bags. Dwayne, good to see you out there. Dobbins, everybody else coming across all of the different chats. GM, still don't like this ethos edit. I might shut off the ethos. I'm going to give feedback on this. I might shut off the ethos Chrome extension because now we're at the point where it's like,
I like it. I think it's good. Yellow circles. That's where I find the most value out of those. But it's like I feel like I've already identified 99% of those individuals, and so it's not really that. I think it's helpful for someone new, but I think it's like I'm not sure how much value I get out of it going forward.
Well, and like yeah, and like the fact that it's now hiding. I mean, that's the thing. It's like the fact that it hides people in the chat. Like, I get it, but it's like
it should be optional. You should be able to turn that off or on. I think. They'll give us a little toggle button. If people want to hide it, fine. If not, I don't like it at all.
It in fact is it is an option. I'm turning it off now.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Well.
My problem is solved. It says hide post from sub 1200 or hide post from sub 1000. So I guess that's actually a decent option. Now that I take that back, I'm on the other side of it because the fact they built that in the initial product is actually smart.
Look at us exploring tech and learning something new.
The tech is good. But give us a like, a retweet, a comment on the room. As mentioned, we don't layers on top of X Be Epic. So let me see if I could kind of give a good demonstration here. I'll kind of show it on because I know you're watching on stream, obviously. So if I go, I'll just share my timeline. We'll see what happens here. So if I go on my timeline, you can see like modern market doesn't really have anything. Oh, stats has a nice blue circle, but like, you know, a lot of these are neutral. I'm trying to see if I can get to a -1 here as well. But yeah, you'll be able to see it. Although now I'm not seeing the circles anymore the same way. Yeah, there's Tyler with a good score. So there is one where here I'll go to Coffee with Captain. Because if I go and I could turn it back on to show you what it's like. But for example, our guy Mesh here. Let me do this. I'll turn this back on and reload. Maybe this is the problem. We're learning in real time. But our guy Mesh as an example is a, just probably a newer account, whatever, has a sub whatever score. Yeah, Odeka's showing me to it, beat him to it. For some reason not going now because I think the extension needs to reload. So there it is. See, post from Mesh hidden 1150. So Mesh obviously friend of the show, great guy, but has a yellow circle because of probably account age. My guess would be on Ethos. Has it hidden. So it shows you the different circles and different options, the way it overlays on X. I'll be scrolling through my X and I'll go to like, see if I show an example. Here you go. Here's a great example. Speaking of RisBrian pushing his jail stool bags, Dave Portnoy has a 515 Ethos score and a big old red circle. So somebody coming to the space might be like, okay, if he talks about crypto, I might want to be more skeptical because crypto people have reviewed him all the way down. Similar to Caps guy, I think Kevin Rose is still on here. So Kevin Rose 402, lower than Portnoy, is on there as well. So
I think it's deserved.
I don't know.
Because I think at least those of us here, like we knew what Portnoy is doing. We knew he would like. I didn't touch one of the things he promoted. Where Cairo he fooled me. Like I thought he was going to be a great actor for the space, not one of the worst. Like I feel like to have that kind of warning on Cairo is very important. Whereas like I think like even before he like started doing this in crypto, he'd done it before. Dave's a gambler. Like Dave comes across like personality wise as just a shiller. Someone like I just inherently don't trust everything he says. Cairo was like a tradfi, like modern finance. Like it just he pulled the wool over my eyes. And Cairo like as far as Ethos is concerned and what it is built for, like I think it's actually I think that hits. I think he should have a lower Ethos score than does Dave, because Dave was at least upfront about most of his things. Dave said what he was going to do, whereas Cairo did the opposite.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I feel that way. Like I think it's
yeah, Diego. We will have them on overdue. We've been in the DMs. We just need to follow up with them and lock down a date.
Yeah,
Steve and I were talking about guests here this morning pre-show. There's a few out there hanging. Yeah, good. Appreciate the reminder, but yeah, that's a good one. We need to. I'm actually gonna make a note of it now in my Boomer black book. But yeah, the good call on Claynos when you get the team on.
Yeah, we definitely should get Cabin team on. I'm a fan of the Claynos. I was talking to them before their most recent major announcement, and then we couldn't lock it up and sync up coordinates. So that's a discussion that definitely needs to happen. Agree. Love myself. I mean,
Are you a mentor of their new project? I think I am. I need to see the date on whether I want to go get an OG one or mint the new one. I want to hold one of those assets because this is a team I want to support. I think actually perfect segue as we're talking. I mean, kind of cold openish still here, but we talk about ethos and supporting teams. Like that's a team I want to support. Those are people I want to support. So yeah, I will gladly hold one of those in my wallet and support in a very small way. Before we get out of cold open though, maybe we punt it. I don't know. I had a few random thoughts, but we'll take it wherever you'd like. Not worth diving that deep into this morning.
Crypto related or not crypto related?
No, entirely random.
Okay.
We'll wait till the actual like NFL schedule release. Happy that's Thursday for those who celebrate. But I was going to talk about a little bit of NFL schedule and NBA conspiracy theories, but no, it's not. We don't need to cover that this morning.
Yeah, NBA didn't hurt Tatum, although it is perfect.
I wasn't talking about Tatum. I'm talking about like the odds of in the last 25 years since LeBron entered the league, there's been 5 times where a team with 3% or less chance to draw the one pick has secured the one pick. And I'm not saying it's statistically impossible. It is extremely improbable.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA lottery seems very rigged. That's just a classic.
Okay.
I mean, that's like we lost LeBron and got the number 1 pick.
Like, I don't think the games are rigged. I really don't think they do that. I don't think these players they're competitors. So I don't think the games are rigged, but I do think stuff like this is rigged.
Well, the games have been rigged. They have been rigged by refs.
Well, by refs, right. I'm saying like from a league-wide level, I do think the leagues have integrity, all of them. I don't think they're rigging games. There's just too much on it. It could cost them everything. These are billion-dollar enterprise. But what I do believe is they're entertainers. This is an entertainment product. Their goal is to put out the best product. And sometimes, yeah, maybe they did rig. They wanted Luka in LA, and they wanted, so then as a result, they gave the Mavs the first pick. Like, okay, it's like people still watch WWE. We know that's scripted. Like, it's like I don't think the games are scripted. I don't think the games are rigged. I don't think they intentionally tore Tatum's Achilles or whatever happened there, but I do think things like the draft are probably there's probably very much so.
Yeah, I think the Luka trade was literally just a stupid trade, but I think so
if it was just a stupid trade, then why did the league feel that Dallas needed to, like, I don't get it.
It's like when LeBron left and they gave the top pick to Cleveland. Like, it's the same thing. Luka's gone, everybody's down and beat
here because the rumors were that the owner wanted to run he wants to move the franchise. So it'd be weird unless the league like, oh, we're not going to let you move. We're going to throw you another stud to force keep you there or something.
Even if they move the franchise, with Cooper Flag. Like, I mean, I think that they looked at it like the good story is, oh my God, what a story that, stranger than fiction.
Like players have been on it. Like I will acknowledge that. I'm saying like I don't think the association is rigging games. I don't think they're deciding the outcomes of games, but I do think it's likely they decide the outcome of a draft lottery.
Yeah, I don't believe the draft lottery anymore for sure. I mean, it seems like total BS. And you just see the way that teams have won. It's like a storyline every time. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I don't know. So
D Rose was another one.
I was going to say Derrick Rose to Chicago was one of them that came to mind when we think about it as well. Again, LeBron to Cleveland felt likely, but LeBron
to Cleveland. Cleveland got the pick after LeBron left, and they did it in a third time for Cleveland to get so they could get the love package for them to win the title.
Yeah, it's a whole, like, again, I don't really care. I don't know. Like, I'm more just upset. To me, I'm just more bummed out. Like, I'm not even thinking draft. It's like I'm so bummed out about what could have been because look, I like Indiana as a team. If the Cavs are fully healthy, they would pace Indiana in 5 or 6 games, right? Like, they might be good. They're going to go out. They're going to do Cancun on 3, 1, 2, 3 Cancun tonight. And it sucks, man, because it's like not that you root for injuries, but this was the year they could have walked to the finals if they stayed healthy.
Yeah, sorry for our guy Von Front and any Pacers fans, but speaking of if the association is going to fix anything, and then it's going to be the Knicks in the finals. Like they can't afford a Pacers finals. Like if we get a Pacers, what would be the worst? Like probably Pacers Minnesota finals. Ooh, worst viewed finals in years.
Yeah, I mean, and who like it's like that would be the VCon finals, Indianapolis versus Minnesota. Yeah, the VCon finals could happen. But
yeah, great for Web3 conferences, mid markets, not great for NBA finals.
Simpsons did it, VFriends did it. But no, I just we'll see what happens. I'm rooting for the Pacers, but I think it'll be probably Knicks. The way Brunson's playing. I don't know. The Pacers are such a good team. They're so underrated. It's just, I would love to see the Pacers sneak out one of those Giannis championships or those Jokic championships. You know, Giannis hasn't moved yet.
No, he's on. He's currently for the first time ever considering a trade or considering going somewhere else.
Oh no. But yeah, of course, yeah. Like they're talking about like the Thunder, the Knicks potentially making a trade. Yeah, they're talking about some different packages that are going through. But yeah, no, we're looking at the. I would love Indiana to sneak out the Giannis final win was crazy. That was a crazy one. The Dallas win that they had when they beat like the Heat and they beat Kobe and all those teams along the way. And occasionally you get one of those, even Jokic, like people forget how good Jokic is. Did you know Jokic has never played with an all-star before on his team at any given time? There's never had an all-star on his team. Not one. While he was playing. On the team. Yeah. Like he's never played side by side with an all-star. It's nuts.
It is nuts. I would have never guessed that. I would guess some of those players have been snubbed.
He's
had like number twos that have been like I would have guessed like Murray was an all-star. I would guess.
But you see, that's what I'm saying.
I my brain thinks Aaron Gordon because he's won the slam dunk contest, but he's never been an all-star.
Not when he's been playing with Jokic. Like he has never played with anybody on his team that has been good enough to make an all-star team. Isn't that crazy? I saw that stat and I looked it up and I was like, wow. Like makes you really realize how good Jokic is.
Imagine if he actually liked the game.
What's that?
Imagine if Jokic actually liked the game.
Oh, yeah, I know. No. Yeah, but yeah, Jokic snuck in that finals. He was really good. Giannis snuck in one. I think Dirk and that Dallas team snuck in the one. It'll be cool to see Indiana sneak one past the goalie this year.
This is my bad for everyone who didn't want to hear the NBA story this morning. I apologize. I threw it out there as a tease, and it invoked a wild rig. So we got to go to our New York guy, and then I'm curious if Joey's going to take shots at the Knicks or where this is going to go. But Riggs, GM, always a pleasure. The crypto capital of the world, some are saying, in New York City.
Yeah, baby, 100%. Although I'm getting shit on for posting something about Eric Adams. I'm like, it's not a political statement. People.
Wait. I don't follow politics. What's the blowback there?
I mean, Eric Adams is a polarizing mayor that some would say has been very shady and he's not beloved. Let's just say that by many. But again. Is what it is.
I assume an anti-Trumper being the mayor of New York, no?
Yeah. Well, Eric Adams finds a way to straddle the line quite a bit.
So he's disliked from both sides.
He's a true politician in many, many ways. But either way, I didn't come up here for Eric Adams conversations. First off, the draft lottery is 100% rigged. Every time something big happens, a big player leaves, just like LeBron, where Cleveland got the 2 first rounds pretty much back to back. You had the Charlotte Hornets leave Charlotte. We never get the number 1 pick. Oh, guess what? New Orleans, the Charlotte Hornets that year, that was a strike year. We were the worst team in NBA history. We won 7 games. Guess what? The New Orleans Hornets get Anthony Davis. You got freaking now with Luka being traded. The first off, draft lottery 100% rigged. It pisses me the fuck off. Pisses me off. Secondly, when it comes to Jokic, I know statistically you're correct there, Steve, that he's never played with an all-star at the time. He does have a 2-time MVP, Russell Westbrook, helping lead the team, from a 6-man type of a bench role, but it doesn't change the fact that he's one of the best point guards to ever play the game, averaging triple-doubles for 2 seasons in a row. Insanity. He does have a lot of players. And I also imagine if he actually liked playing the game. Jokic it's insane what he does.
I love Russell Westbrook, by the way. He's probably an all-time favorite guy to watch play for me because you Like you can't teach playing hard. So the Russell Westbrook point is fair. So he's playing with Russell Westbrook, who was an all-star at one point. Now, and again, I think he's still one of the better players in the league, but wasn't an all-star unless he was an all-star this year. Someone will have to say. Payne's saying he's a stat stuffer and not a leader. That's the point. Jokic is he doesn't need to be a leader, but he's still an awesome guy to. If you don't like watching Russell Westbrook play basketball, Payne, I'm going to go out on a hot take and say you don't like basketball. Like, did you watch him play D in the last position? Oh my God.
He's a smaller dude that when he drives that lane and comes to posterize you, it's fucking exciting. And yeah, he is a bit of a stat stuffer, but who isn't at times? He's played on some shit teams. He's played on some really good teams. Think if for some reason that Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kevin Durant trio would have stayed together, I think they would have been almost impossible to beat at some point. But that's more here nor there.
They were literally the first organic super team had they just kept them together.
Yeah, for sure. Now I just want to bring this up because the NBA playoffs have been. I've said this is the first year in a long time I'm unsure of really who's going to be in the finals. It's been pretty fun to watch. If New York can stop going down by fucking double digits every game multiple times, they're going to be really hard to beat. Really fucking hard to beat. And if New York gets into the finals, the NBA has nothing to worry about when it comes to ratings. That bad boy will be electric. It's been 57 years, I believe, since New York's last finals win. And so this city would be electric. The fan base would be insane across the country. I hate to say it, but that's who I'm rooting for. So let's go fucking Knicks.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I love the Knicks. When the Garden is rocking, there's nothing like it. The celebrities, the power of the building. I know people like to hate on it. I love that. That said, from a basketball standpoint, I'll die in this hill, and I know people are. You can't argue a counterfactual. But
sorry, Rob. Just another there was another. I apologize. I'll go right back to you. Unrelated entirely, but I just saw another cryptocurrency attempted kidnapping in Paris. What the hell is happening in Paris? It's the third one.
Yeah, it's terrifying, especially considering we were in Paris. People were I was like, oh, I felt safe. But I also am not exactly a rich person, so I'm okay. No, I don't know. I'll say this, and then I'll go to Joey, and then we'll get off the basketball stuff. I know you can't argue a counterfactual. You can't convince me that this healthy Cavs team wouldn't. Every team except for a healthy Boston team, I think this Cavs team would paste. I think they would pace New York. I think that they would beat, the Pacers in, 5 or 6 games because the Pacers are scrappy and the Pacers match up better with the Cavs than the Knicks do. I think the Cavs would crush the Knicks in a series if they were healthy. They're not. They're not going to be healthy. Donovan Mitchell might not even play tonight. Defensive Player of the Year, banged up. Darius Garland, their other star, banged up. Hunter, the guy they made the trade for to try to make a move, banged up. So they're just hurting out because the Pacers muck up the game in a great way. I love it. They outside of the nut punch that DeAndre Hunter got, it wasn't too bad. But give me and in any case, give me a Knicks, let's say a Knicks Thunder final to get SGA in there, a little America versus Canada. Give me a Knicks, probably Knicks Timberwolves would actually be really fun for me because you get to see Anthony Davis play in the final, Anthony Edwards play in the finals, which would be really fun.
They also had the big trade this year for Cat and Julius Randle. So those two teams playing against each other would be really fun.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, good. Because I said definitively that New York won that trade. I'm a big Cat guy, and that's because Cat is just so fun to watch. He is a saucy minx. He hits his 3 after missing a whole bunch of stuff and gets in people's faces after missing a bunch of he's one of my. I love Karl Anthony Towns. Watching him play is so fun because, there's something to be said about the confidence of a professional athlete, and God bless that man with confidence no matter what he's doing, and I love it. So, yeah, I'm a big Cat guy. So, and I like Jalen Brunson, Roommates podcast. Shout out Matty Ice with Josh Hart and the Nova Boys there. So, I would love to see, if nothing else, from my buddy Matt's podcast, who, if people don't know, Matty Ice, formerly of the Tally Labs crew, hosts the Roommate podcast with Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. Would be really cool to see them get a bump on that too. So I'm pulling for. I mean, I'd like to see, honestly, like Indiana or New York, I'm happy with. I would like to see either of those teams. I couldn't give a shit about anybody in the West, and I don't like Boston, but it doesn't matter because Boston's not going to beat New York. So just a bummer as a Cavs fan to be like, we could have stolen this year and we didn't. But Joey Valls, go ahead and get in here, and then we'll talk a little bit of Web3 stuff.
Yeah, I'm also a big Knicks fan, so I'm excited to see the Knicks win and potentially make it to the NBA finals. I'm gonna say that I do think NBA games are rigged, just like NFL games, because to Cap's point, it is entertainment. If anybody remembers the NBA finals a few years ago when it was Golden State and Cleveland, and they ejected Draymond Green from that game and then suspended him. It was extremely controversial.
It was Joey. We're gonna
We're
muting it. We're not doing this bullshit right now. No. In fact, Joey may get booted from the space for this sort of ridiculousness. Calling it controversial when he had multiple texts previously. The reason he got suspended, Joseph, was because he had so many texts leading up to it, and they were left with no choice when he on the ground kicked someone in the balls. So this is not a controversial suspension for anybody outside of Golden State. This is about as controversial as people saying it was controversial they kicked Steph Curry out when he threw his mouth guard at someone in the first row. Like, let's get out of here. Like, with that crap, like it's calling that rigged on the NBA's part because they kicked a guy out of a game for kicking someone in the nuts and suspended him for something that is suspended 100 times out of 100 for a guy with a history of this stuff. No, like that's called getting control of a series where a guy has been incredibly over the line. Draymond Green flails his body around and gets kicked out of games for a reason. Like, that is not a controversial play. If you don't want to get suspended, you don't kick a guy in the nuts from the ground while you're on it. I'll unmute you, but we will not allow that sort of slander in this thing. And that is a thin ice comment right there.
That's why he got the first flagrant. The game that he ended up getting kicked out of and suspended was when somebody else was on the floor and he like fell over top of them. That's the game that resulted in the technical foul that ended up suspending him. That's the one that was controversial. The kick in the nuts was not controversial. He 100% deserved that without a shadow of a doubt. But either way, I still think there's multiple times in the NBA. Like last night, if you watched that Knicks game, it was favoring the Celtics. I mean, the Knicks had no free throws until the last 2 minutes of the first half. How is it possible that in the NBA, where they call everything a foul, that the Knicks had no free throws until the last 3 minutes of the first half? So they were doing their best to make sure the Celtics probably tied up that series because, let's be honest, ratings, right? The NBA, the NFL, all of these guys make a ton of money on ratings, and it's really easy to call fouls, to give free throws. In the NFL, to call penalties, like we hear the Chiefs conspiracy all the time, right? To get ratings, and well, the NFL is different because you don't play a series, but in the NBA you do. So I agree that the draft lottery is probably rigged. I miss the days when they used to use ping pong balls. Like, why don't they go back to using the ping pong balls and doing it live on TV like they used to do the lotto back in the day? Back in the day in the NBA, for us old folks, they would put ping pong balls, like one for every, like if you were the worst team and you had the highest percentage to get the first pick, you would have the most ping pong balls in the machine. And then they would hit the little button, it would suck up a ping pong ball. And then that would be, the 12th pick, the 11th, the 10th, and they would do it live on TV for all of us to see. So we knew it wasn't rigged. Now they do it behind closed doors, and then they just bring envelopes out. So I agree the lottery is rigged. I agree sometimes games are rigged because it's all for entertainment and it's all for ratings. And go Knicks, we're winning the championship this year. I don't care who makes it from the West.
You whether you intentionally or unintentionally, you just actually evoked Aisha Curry, who was mad when Steph got ejected from a game for committing a foul and said this is rigged for entertainment or something or ratings. I don't know. So it's actually kind of funny that you use those words. Second of all, I would challenge you, and you could go find it. We're not going to litigate it on this show, but in my recollection, I think it was actually a punch, not a kick. Draymond punched, and it was his second nut punch of the playoffs. And it was the controversial part you were trying to bring up was it was initially not assessed as a flagrant foul, but when it was assessed afterwards as a flagrant foul, that triggered the suspension because he had cumulative flagrant. So it was the nut punch that ultimately triggered it, but it was because they assessed the flagrant after the game, which is what you're supposed to give when someone punches someone in the testicles in an NBA game. He ended up getting suspended for it. So yeah, not controversial. Like, if you don't want to get suspended, don't punch people in the nuts multiple times in the playoffs. Like, I forget who he punched the first time. It was somebody on a different team. And then in the Western
Conference, it was more like a dick tap. It was more like a dick tap. It's like with your boys and you're kind of like, boop. It wasn't really a punch.
They could have given LeBron a tech too afterwards because I think he was stepping over him, and that's why Draymond punched him. But like, not okay. So anyway, we will not have the slander of calling that controversial. That was the greatest comeback in NBA history, close to sports history. Shout out to the Red Sox against the Yankees, but definitely a tough one in basketball because 3-1's a little bit harder because of the type of game it is compared to baseball. But either way, we roll on. We will not have slander on that championship in this show at any time.
My apologies. I'll just bite my tongue next time.
But in any case, yes, NBA rigged. Also, like, cat videos are hilarious. Yep, I agree. Payne, like, also a fan there. Appreciate that thought process as well. But anyway, Cap, what do you NBA was rigged to have? Pinstripe Gators with us for sure. That said, Cap, been kind of a busy week and kind of a crazy time in my life. I know we got Clawfee with Captain coming up here in a little bit. Let's pick 3 people from the crowds. We'll go streamless today on this one. But Pinstripe Gator, since you are out there, Pinstripe Gator, how do you feel about being a Clawfee with Captain recipient today? You'll have to let us know on Clawfee with Captain as well. Would love to have Pinstripe Gator. I know Rare Ed came on last week. I know there was someone else. Maybe it was like, we'll do another B Epic in this week. I love a good B Epic. I know we did Rare Ed previously, but would love to get Pinstripe Gator on there if he's into it. Rare B Epic if you're into it. We do a B Epic as well. And then we got to pick a third, Cap. So while we get on here, think about your third who might be potentially on there. But we're going to go Pinstripe Gator. We're going to go B Epic. We'll do this here in a little bit in the next 5 or 7 minutes. And then we need a third on there. So if there's someone in the chat who wants to get a draw from the claw machine, doesn't matter if you've done previous draws. We love actually rewarding some loyal listeners. Let us know. We'll whip up Clawfee with Captain. We'll get this thing going. And,
would it be unfair to give Payne a chance? Because I feel like Payne deserves it for all his hard work.
I am down. Let's do it. Payne, you're number 3. We're gonna put Payne on Clawfee with Captain. So Payne, you're gonna come on. And actually, Payne, if you're available, you can come on stream. Oh, RisBrian also on there. So RisBrian, we're going to punch you to maybe. Well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna punt Payne. Payne's the bud. We're gonna keep RisBrian on this week. So Payne, stay tuned. We're going to get you Clawfee with Captain next week. We're already pre-announcing. Payne's going to come on stream and do it. We're going to do RisBrian. RisBrian is here every single day, all day, and deserves it. So we'll go RisBrian. We're going to get Payne on the stream next week. So we got our 3 people. So no videos.
Steve, a Bordo Saka maybe one week.
Bordo Saka, 1,000% will be on there. I didn't see Bordo Saka in the GMs this morning. So, oh no, he was in the GM. So I thought he might not be here. So we will get a lot of our good friends on there. Cool Chick will get you in there at some point as well. So I'm trying to keep my running list in my incredibly disorganized sheet of Bordo Saka we're going to get at some point. We're going to get Cool Chick at some point. We're going to get if you are a chatter in the abstract chat or you are a chatter in the, honestly, if you're in any of these chats, we will get you more often, including the Spaces chat. So throw it out there. But this week, we will be doing, we're going to be doing Pinstripe Gator, B Epic, and RisBrian in that order. If you haven't set up an account, Cap will pin that link to the top. So go to the space. And if not, you could always DM us to get the link as well. But we will get you going on Beezie as we get Clawfee with Captain running. Excited about that. But yeah,
came in good. Inflation beat expectations. Fell to 2.3%. Estimated was 2.4. Core CPI flat at 2.8, which was estimated. Market seems to be liking it early, but we'll see.
I think market's just happy right now. We, we'll get into Clawfee with Captain in the next 5 or so. So just stay. Best way to be ready is to stay ready. Pinstripe Gator, Be Epic, and RisBrian. So be ready in a minute here for Clawfee with Captain. New look and feel to the claw at the moment as we start to do the pulls. It's got a really, really cool overlay design that we'll show you all in a second. So that's exciting. But yeah, man, I think right now, just to talk macro real quick before we go Clawfee, I think people are feeling good about the, direction we're heading, right? I mean, 90-day pause with the China thing. It's like the leaps, the bounds, the ups, the downs. Like, I know people had said like, hey, they're trying to put us into a recession this year. Looks like that is less and less likely to come to fruition if we continue to see good CPI prints. For crypto, we're seeing positive crypto movement, good movement, at least initially on the trade deals. So I'm tentatively feeling pretty good that we're halfway through the year. The scary part is the old government shutdown, which I don't think is something that I necessarily expect to see. So, with the Republican government, it doesn't seem like they would force a shutdown of their own government and cause themselves time to get down spending. So I don't know. Any thoughts on how you're feeling on the macro, Cap?
Yeah, I'm the optimist, so I think we go not up only, but I think things are just starting to heat up. I am very optimistic for the next couple of years, and I think this is the beginning of good times. I just don't know where. I feel really good about macro. I don't know how I feel about tokens and memes and deeper conversation. I don't know what the meta is going to be. Like Coinbase, S&P 500, good news, going to bring more attention. All these companies buying up Bitcoin. I don't know where. I still don't see, like, I kept saying AI agents are going to be to 2025 as NFTs were to 2021. It's starting to look like that's unlikely. Now they are heating up and they're starting to take off. I just don't know if they're going to have the second half of the year like NFTs did in 21. But
do we just have, do we, and this might be a pause after Clawfee with Kevin because it's a bigger discussion. Actually, it probably is, but do we have our what is the thing this cycle already in layer 2s and tokens? Like, do we just have that? Like, I think we might have that.
I don't think so. Layer 2s aren't going to, like, as far as like what I'm talking about is the onboarding of new people. And forget the masses, but like getting more, I just don't see people who aren't here getting excited about infrastructure. Like what we really need is the talented people to stop creating more infra and start building consumer apps. A lot of people aren't going to like this probably, but shout out to ApeChain and Abstract. Like they've done more on the consumer side than we saw from Blast, ever. And Blast, I think, is just they're dead. They're put a fork in them. They're done. But I just don't know if okay, more L2s are coming. I don't see that's going to do anything to bring in consumers. But I do think the consumer dApps. I think and maybe what it is it's not necessarily the end users, the people coming in to buy NFTs that or the people that are coming in like us that came here before to collect and flip NFTs. Rather, I could see a wave of builders. I could see with the favorable administration, with the things looking up, I could see a wave of entrepreneurs entering the space to build here, to build on chain. And I see Brett out there. I think what Mega ETH's doing, I think I think that sort of stuff. So to maybe in your, if it is infra, I think that could be what brings these other builders in, as the tech is now ready, right? Like in 2021, it wasn't ready for most consumers. It now is. And so maybe some of the really talented devs out there on the consumer side may start more aggressively pouring into this space and start building on chain.
I have thoughts on this. Let's do this. Let's hit Clawfee just to get everybody set up and hit on it. But I might have a different perspective on this, and I think it'll be a good discussion of sort of what the thing is for this cycle. But we'll get this thing going with Clawfee with Captain and get some chats going.
Clawfee with Captain. Give that claw a spin. Ball to grills from Beezie.
And it is time, my friends. We'll get Joey in here in a second, but it's time for Clawfee with Captain. Clawfee with Captain is brought to you by Beezie, the best marketplace for resellers. From Pokemon and One Piece to sneakers, video games, comics, and more. All collectibles are stored securely in a Brink's vault and can be redeemed at any time. Plus, it's the only place you will find the claw. And I think I saw Joey's hand up earlier, I realized, and then it kind of looked like it went down, but that may be the issue here. So, Joey, I don't know if you want to get in here before with any sort of Beezie updates, thoughts, or news.
Real quick, my daughter absolutely loves the intro song, The Clawfee with Captain, and I believe that was Payne that put it together. Is that correct?
I put that together.
Oh, okay. Well, Steve, my daughter loves it. She dances every time it comes on. So great job. And then just real quick update. So yes, there's the devs don't stop deving at Beezie. We are constantly getting feedback from the community. So if you're not in our Discord yet, please join. There's a feedback channel where we are always listening to what our users and our community is doing. And that's what led to this complete revamp of the claw, the UI, the UX, everything you see that's new, from recent polls to probabilities to value, like how you start the machine. Everything you're seeing here is all based on community feedback. Since the beginning, we've said we want to build for the people. So if you're a fan, if you're part of the community, please join the Discord. We're always open to feedback, and I hope you guys like the new UI UX.
I am not saying this because you are a sponsor. I love the new UI and UX. So it's way more user-friendly. I actually think it shows the important information more. So if you look, multi-category claw, there's a $30 pull. The average value pull, 34. You can see the odds here. Basically, the odds about 2 out of 3 chance that you're going to pull something at even EV or below it, meaning you would go $30 or below on that pull. About a 1 in 3 chance you go above, 2% chance you get 100 to 200 on there. So got that going for us as well. Swap at about 90% shows that. Kind of has some calls to action down here to remind people what the claw is about. And now it's actually a lot easier to see your top items, so you can see what you're playing for. The cards, the clicks through, lets you see what it is, displays it. Recent polls are on there, which is pretty cool as well. So at least for my money, this is I liked the UX before. This is a massive UX upgrade, in my opinion. So we're gonna get this thing going. As we mentioned before, Beezie is a great marketplace for resellers where you can get a percentage on your sales in perpetuity. There is a opportunity to build a really cool vault. I have shared mine before, which is a really fun vault with a ton of things, including a Mario 3 game cartridge. But yeah, let's get this claw going. So we're gonna do a claw pull. At that point, we'll give about 15 to 20 seconds for Pinstripe Gator, then Be Epic, then RisBrian to swap or not. If they swap at that value, I will go ahead and send them the cash, and they can find they can do that, or they can start building their collection. As like Dort last week, for example, said, I am starting my strategic card reserve. So appreciate that. So we'll get this thing going. Pinstripe Gator, you are up first. So we will confirm. We will go ahead. I have that nice wallet balance there, thanks to our friends over at Beezie, who helped us get that going for our friends in the world of Coffee with Captain. So in about, 20 seconds or so, talks to the blockchain. Gonna go ahead and do a poll. Our first new Clawfee with Captain Claw experience. It's in, it's pulling, it's dropping. I feel good about this one. All right, $16.92. It's a pretty cool card, a Japanese cyber judge card. You can see sort of the details on it. CGC 10, PSA 10. Who's on it? So do you want to swap or not? So Pinstripe Gator, let us know. The swap function actually front and center here, which I appreciate as well. Makes it a little bit of an easier experience. So watch in the chat. Give them about 15 seconds for it to kick in. Do you want that $16.92? Or Pinstripe Gator, I could send this to your Beezie account and you could start your strategic Beezie collection. Let us know. He's swapping, so $16.92. We'll go and see what the swap number is. Also, an upgrade, I think, Joey, is I am not seeing the so I'm going to note that I'm Pinstripe Gator, about $17. What I'm not seeing on here is the sort of different platform fees and things, which I think is a positive because it would show you that you'd be like, oh, my swap value is this, but I'm not getting that. So I like that. Swap successful on screen. So Pinstripe Gator, 17 is the proud recipient of $17. Be Epic, We're now up. 30-hour claw poll for Epic. We'll see if we can get this going. Pinstripe Gator can't swap for another poll unless it is EV towards the poll. We shall see. So we're seeing what Be Epic is pulling right now. Hey, 29.61, about even value there. So we'll send you the $17, Pinstripe Gator. Now, Be Epic, do you want this 1999 Mr. Jungle Mime PSA 7? A 1999 card. Pretty good throwback there. Probably about a $30 to $35 value based on that swap number. Now, I could send you that $29. You could take it, or I can send you this beautiful card. Be Epic, you tell me what you're trying to do, and we will get you done. So whatever you're thinking here, I'll either get you the card or get you it, and you will keep it. So the Jungle card is going to Jungle Mr. Mime, the 1999. I called Mr. Jungle, I think, is going to Be Epic. So we're going to keep that card. And we're going to start the claw over again. Again, love this new user interface where I'm able to either swap or start again on here. It's much, much, much more user-friendly, which is awesome. So we're going to do that. All right, RisBrian. RisBrian needs all of the karma here because RisBrian shows up every day, member of the War Room, good dude. Let's see how RisBrian does on the poll. I'm feeling good about this one for RisBrian. I think RisBrian is going to pull one of those super rare items and pull some cash here. Let's see. And we got, all right, $16.90, just another $17 swapper, RisBrian. I actually don't see the StreamYard chat because I am sharing my screen or I don't have my tab up, so I need to find that so I can do it. But RisBrian, oh, here we see it. So RisBrian, swap or not? Let us know. $17 about that you would get in cash. I will sponsor the last 8 cents if you want to swap, or I can send you this Astral Radiance Galarian card if you're looking for a PSA 9 from 2022. So Brian is going to swap. So I'm going to give him $17. A couple of swaps this week. So, you know, we've had a couple of weeks where everybody has gotten all of the where people have not swapped at all. 2 swaps this week, which is kind of what you want. 2 swaps and a keeper. Be Epic, a collector like me. I will get those cards out the door as soon as I can. But another good episode and segment of Clawfee with Captain. We love Clawfee with Captain. We love, once again, as a reminder, Clawfee with Captain is brought to you by Beezie, the best marketplace for resellers, from Pokemon to One Piece to sneakers, video games, comics, and more. All collectibles are stored securely in a Briggs vault and can be redeemed at any time. Plus, it's the only place you'll find the claw. Thank you, Joey and Beezie from Be Epic in the chat. Appreciate y'all sponsoring this segment. I think our audience has been pretty active. We've seen a lot of activity and people sharing on the timeline, which we very much appreciate from our claw polls.
Love to see it.
Even ended on a high note there with the music.
Very getting this production game down, Steve.
It's working. It's working. I know we were talking about some layer 2s before, eBrink. eBrink's been an underrated. We probably should get eBrink on a poll at some point. I should put that on my list of future polls. eBrink has been a contributor and actually gives thoughtful commentary, which sometimes bucks the trend a little bit, which I appreciate. Don't have to buck the trend, but even just internet capital markets are back. I love that comment. Von Frenton said, possible on the popular take, stop over financially everything. The consumer onboarding, just make things people want to use. I agree. Here's where I will push back on your take a little bit earlier on the layer 2 things. I agree. People do need to build dApps, period. Like, there needs to be dApps that people want to use. I've been saying before, like, build a consumer dApp, play the long game. But I think layer 2s are how we get there. I think ecosystems, I think Abstract is being really smart about their ecosystem. I think some of these ones that are building on Kaito are being smart about their ecosystem. They create a little bit of a cult around their ecosystem. They then create the dApps, which can reward users in some way, shape, or form. And I think those little rewards are real opportunities. Like if you give play to earn or play and earn, where, if you beat 100 levels of Candy Crush, you might get, a booster, but you might get $100. And you've spent more than $100 to get there. Like, I think that aspect of it for layer 2s, like, you need the infrastructure, and one of these is going to win. And I do think that people outside the space can get excited when their friends tell them, use Beezie, or I mean, Beezie's on Flow, so it's a good example of a good DApp. But if they tell them, hey, if you're on this abstract thing, there's streamers talking about products, there's games you can play, and there will be money to earn.
Okay, so a couple things. One, on the L2 front, like what I don't want to see is I don't want to see Kaito launch an L2 now. Like every DApp doesn't need their own chain. I just, they're not all going to be here. There's if they keep printing more, putting out more L2s, it's going to lead to future consolidation. People are just wasting development time building things that's not necessary. Like Kaito doesn't need its own chain. And this is just like as an example. I'm not saying that this is even rumored or any speculation around this, but I feel like we got to a point where everyone feels they need their own chain because it's a better liquidity event than just dropping a token. It's just not good for the space. It's like that's only going to last for so long. And I think as we've hit a point, like some were needed and some they found their niche or finding their niche. But I think if it continues, we're just going to see more and more blasts. What I do think is, because you mentioned like the streaming, and I don't think it's just streaming on abstract. I actually think maybe that is so there's two. I think there's two potential groups of people that could be the next big wave of crypto participants. One, the entrepreneurs. Why go to YCOM when you could build in this space and get access to funding probably faster, access to the network effects of and I get they got all that there, but it's limited, right? There's only maybe a couple hundred people that are going to go through that on an annual basis. Here it's virtually untapped. I could see there be a wave of entrepreneurs coming in to build here and more creators. I just like we are very, 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 very small fish in the world of creators. Imagine if someone like a Kai Cenat or, maybe it's not the best example now, but imagine if Aiden Ross didn't have the experience he had and became a crypto bull and started talking about the fun stuff, the neat stuff happening in this space. Imagine if one of these big streamers, and maybe it's not them because they don't need it. They've already made it. I could just see a wave of creators coming in here. And part of it is due to things like Kaito in this InfoFi world that I don't think we're anywhere close to the end state yet, but I think we're light years ahead of where we were from, I don't know how long ago Portal Drop was, but like, think about like that social farming to what we're seeing today. And I think there's a lot of creators out there that are, let's say they have a YouTube account 10x our size, and I don't think they have near the earnings potential, right? It's like there's this chasm from a lot of other industries where you need a platform of millions of followers just to even make a go at it, where it's just you don't need that here. Like it's just the opportunities are far more. And so I say this knowing that it probably gets a lot harder for us, right? Like our like a Kaito airdrop in 2028 is probably going to be significantly less than what you could get today. Like in all seriousness, and we're not the best examples, but you could probably send one tweet a day about one of the projects, about a different project on that Kaito leaderboard. And you're like, I'm not even exaggerating. That's probably a $5,000 to $10,000 a month income for you right now. One tweet a day, not even every day, 5 days a week, 20 tweets a month. If you actually did a little bit of research, let's say you spend an hour a day to research a tweet and you spend 20 hours. In fact, I may just do this just to use it as an example, unless anyone else wants to volunteer for me, because I'd rather spend those 20 hours drafting best ball drafts, just keeping it real. I bet if you spent 20 hours tweeting, putting out intentful, thoughtful posts about the Kaito Launchpad projects, I bet minimum you're probably pulling 5K. If you have a decent size account, a decent following, and I'd say you could probably break in even with a smaller account if one of those catches steam and you get some good traction. I don't think you can do that in any other industry. I don't. Check me if I'm wrong. Let's say you have 1,000 followers. Is there anywhere you could go to start talking about it and within your first month make 10 grand just talking about content in the industry?
So I think the numbers are probably a little exaggerated because you're talking like ICO beast numbers. So like you might be able to make like, you make
way more than that, dude. I think you made 9 grand just on Polkadot last month alone. It's just one of like a dozen that are there.
No, I think he said he made like 20 total and like had the whole, but like I think the numbers might be a little like big there. So I don't want like unrealistic expectations on that. But to your point about the money, it's like I think it is a far better thing than Portal Coin and some of the other things that we've seen in play. To your point, like I think it was an evolution of social finance in a way. I still don't think it's fully InfoFi because I don't know the data is clean there. And I know they get mad when I say that, but it's not an insult.
Yeah, I think it's more marketing fi than it is info-fi.
Yeah, exactly. It's marketing fi, and it's like it's just basically.
Has anyone said this yet? Or did we just make up a word?
I mean, it's I don't know if marketing fi works because it implies the finance is related to the marketing. It's social fi. It's social finance. You use social, you get finance on the other end of it. I would say. I think that it's a good marketing tool, though. It is. And I think I agree. I think it's your ability to make money talking about stuff you want is higher. I don't think it's going to be that high, but it's an extra thing. I think part of it is like, you need to be interested. You need to do the work. If you have a big account, it's a little bit easier, but even if you don't have a big account, to your point, like I've got a lot going on. Like I've mentioned before in life, there's a lot of things happening right now for me across the board. If I wasn't as jammed down, like this is what I would be doing with my time. I would be spending a day sending out 3 tweets a day about 3 separate ecosystems that I would dive into. Like this, if I were tactically telling someone how to approach it, I would find 3 pre-TGE ecosystems and I would research on them, talk about a different DApp every day, probably put together some videos, some other content, spend time doing that. And then I would try to, see what happens. My big thing is like, I need someone to come on. And I know like the punk that is the Kaito leader doesn't follow me on X and doesn't follow you on X. So we don't have, we've been trying to get him on the show. I want to know how it works. Honestly, like at this point, like I haven't dug in deep enough outside of when there's been a few specific TGEs. Like
also, what we really need to get him on here for is to get freaking spaces to start counting in this stuff. Like shame on me. Like another example is like, you actually have done well on Quack, so you need to start talking about Ape Chain on the timeline. We talk about it like there's probably not a day that goes by where we don't at least mention Ape Chain in passing on the show. I bet we've talked about Ape Chain as much, if not more than, I can't say that because there are people that hold 24/7 Ape Chain spaces. But as far as other projects and chains go, we talk about it a lot, like 18, 19, 20 days out of 20 out of the month. And we get zero credit for that. And that's a perfect example. Like we are leaving low hanging fruit on the table by simply not doing a little bit more and putting in text what we talk about audibly every day. And yeah, we need to get the founder of Kaito on here just so he can, I don't know, guild him into starting to count for, because no one does it. Like there's no one solved. And I get it's hard. I'm not a dev, so I can't imagine how technically challenging it would be. But yeah, that's my vent is who's building this? Who is rewarding the Spaces host for spreading the good word? Because we will, I mean, we're driving attention. Like you'll get, over the course of a week, a lot more views on something like this than your average tweet thread will, but just doesn't count.
I've actually dumped off the leaderboard and Quacks because I haven't been as active on the timeline with the busy IRL stuff. But to your point, like I think like I need someone to explain to me how Kaito exactly works with some of the other stuff. Like does Polkadot just do a monthly payment like based on their leaderboard? So you just climb their leaderboard. So if that's the case, like,
$100,000 a month. $100,000 a month.
Yeah, that's one option. I'm probably going to start getting into Polkadot a little bit more. I'm actually gonna talk about that. But like Polkadot's got an ongoing thing, but like for the other ones pre-TGE, like so let's say that I talk about, and again, I'm using Mega ETH regardless. I like Mega ETH as a chain. I think it's like the minting experience was crazy fast, how well that worked comparatively to even like a Solana chain, like which obviously the TPS is there, but it's like if I talk about Mega ETH, it's like if I climb the leaderboard and I'm number 1, but then I fall back to number 72 at TGE, am I getting, it's like, is it cumulative? Is it based on how much you talked about it? That part I don't understand, like when you're leaning into TGEs and trying to figure out when they're going to happen. So I think for those things, that's something to be thinking about for sure. But yeah, and I know Meshmesh said Chill Pill streams here on Abstract an hour before. He does a pretty good breakdown of how Kaito works. So yeah, that's someone I need to dig into because Chill Pill I do get into an argument with about or a debate with, a discussion with about it. And yeah, I don't know. It was a good I think good discussions to be had there, but I think Kaito is basically free money to your point that's on the ground. But Joy, I see your hands up. Go ahead and get in here.
It was So many different topics that from when I initially raised my hand. I think I'm on Team Cap, where I don't think it's, and I guess both you guys, where I don't really think this is InfoFi, because I really do think this is more of a marketing thing with Kaito than this like new InfoFi meta that we're getting into, because you're really just rewarding people for talking about, you know, your DApp, your blockchain, your token, whatever it is, and no one's really, and I could be wrong, but I don't think anybody's going and auditing all of these tweets and being like, well, that's not true. That's real info. That's fake info. That's valuable. That's not right. I don't believe that's happening. So I don't know if we can call it InfoFi, because if some of the info is not accurate, but they're still getting credit for it because they're talking about it. To me, this is all just marketing, right? Like, this is a way for you, instead of you hiring, like 2021, 2022, you would reach out to somebody and say, hey, I want to hire some KOLs. I want to hire some influencers to, you know, and you'd pay them per tweet or whatever.
But here, like, this is a perfect point. Like, in 2021, someone with 1,000 followers, they're not getting hired. Like, you're just, if you've not grown your following, if you don't have, or you don't have experience, or like, this is truly democratized copywriting, freelance marketing. Like, it's eliminated any barrier of entry for like literally anyone who wants to participate in this. They can. Like, this is something special. Like, this just doesn't exist in, forget like marketing, like the opportunity to start doing something, have no barriers, and actually make like a living income. Like, this is, it's wild. Like, I don't think anyone outside of crypto or Web3 has talked about this yet. Has anyone seen any like Forbes talk about the revolution of marketing agencies with what Kaito is doing? Like, I haven't seen any, not one single article about this outside of this space. And I just think like this is something that's really special. When people are talking about like, oh, unemployment and where am I going to get my next job, and AI is taking all the jobs, like, this is right here. Like, it's like, yeah, is everyone go out there and make 5 to 10 grand a month doing this? Probably not. But I challenge you to find an easier side hustle to get started in, where you can actually make tangible money, real money.
I will say though, I do think that unless you, with a smaller account, you know, I have like 5,500 followers and I don't tweet that much. Well, I mean, post that much, and I really should post more, and that's on me. But I will say that if you don't have a big following, you do have to probably put in more work than maybe what Cap's saying of like, you know, 10 to 20 hours a week, because from what I've heard from the smaller accounts.
Yes and no. You will, or it's just going to take a while. Like, you may just have to do that for a few months until you get one that pops. Like, I think you can make it doing 10, 20 hours a week. It just may not be your first month.
Yeah. And I do think you have to spend some more time, because according to people that had smaller accounts that I've spoken to, they spent a lot of time, again, being a reply guy on the bigger accounts on the Kaito leaderboard to get noticed. And then, and here's the other thing too, Cap, you mentioned AI. You can literally take, like, for example, let's say you took the white paper let's say you took the white paper for DreamNet or the white paper for Dude, and it was on the Kaito leaderboard. You can literally drop that into ChatGPT and say, hey, please read through this white paper and craft 20 individual X posts, 280 characters or less, that I can put out over the next 2 weeks. And it will do it for you. And then all you have to do is put those posts out, maybe add some emojis or add your own little spin on it. But you can literally do this. You know, to Steve's point, we have the tools that exist to do this. If you really want to participate, and you're not a writer, and you're not somebody who, you know, is creative, so you can utilize those tools to help you on the leaderboard. And the other thing, which is why I originally raised my hand, was Cap, what you were mentioning about like entrepreneurs. I look at the Web3 space, NFTs, blockchain, this whole space as a new Kickstarter, right? So for people that aren't familiar with Kickstarter or those other companies, right? Like, if you have a product that you want to launch, so let's say it's a new baby bottle, right? And it's the best baby bottle ever created, and you don't have the money to pay for the molds, to set up the shipping and distribution, right? You can build out the whole thing, right? Your whole business plan, whatever it is, doesn't have to be a whole business plan, right? You can just type it all up, show prototype pictures, whatever, and say, hey, I'm selling these. And you see this on Shark Tank all the time. I'm selling these for $20 a piece. My goal is to raise $20,000. Once I raise that $20,000, I can get the molds made and then we can ship. And you see people go on Shark Tank all the time, like, do you have sales? Oh yeah, we did 250 grand on Kickstarter. And they're like, well, have you delivered the product yet? No. Well, how do you know if it's any good? I don't. But we that's kind of what we've seen in this space, right? Like people come here and they say, hey, here's my really cool NFTs for, I'm going to sell 3,000 of them, 3,333. And with that money, we're going to build a metaverse. We're going to launch a video game. We're going to comic books, whatever. So I see this space as an opportunity to disrupt the Kickstarter, fundraising space more than anything, because you can come here with these ideas and concepts and raise money and not have to pay back to Kickstarter. Same thing with like a GoFundMe. People don't realize how much GoFundMe takes from people, right? Kickstarter's the same way. So that's when you were talking about entrepreneurs coming here, that's immediately where my thought process went.
Yeah, I agree. And I actually thought those were some of the feelings I had about NFT mints in 2021. And unfortunately, those turned into just too extractive, too many grifters. But the concept still holds. Like, look at Good Vibes Club. Right? They built something for 3 years and then they just did a raise recently, but they didn't have to give up any equity because they did it via an NFT mint and royalties. And I'd love to know if anyone has like what they've brought in total from mint plus the secondary royalties. But like that is a very viable fundraising model. And I think you get more than just capital because you get the network effects of the community. So I think all that checks out, all that works. Also very timely. I just pinned up top with two things. One, there's new Kaito rewards, which Whale just shared, Nova Strostro, which is real world assets. It's EVML3. So I think a couple things are going to happen. I think the opportunity is already here for those of us that are in the space to talk about things that it's already on Kaito. I also think there's going to be a lot of other, like maybe there's like a dozen on the Kaito Launchpad today. I wouldn't be surprised if fast forward a year, there's 100 on there. Or there's other competitors that Kaito are doing similar things. But the one I wanted to call attention to, and let me go grab this, I'll pin it up top, is a tweet Clemente just shared. And now he doesn't name names. I'm taking it for face value. Maybe there's a little bit of embellishment here. Maybe it's a little bit of exaggeration. Maybe they made 15K 1 month and now he's extrapolating that into 150K a year. But the moral of the story is he shares this post where he has witnessed not one, not two, but 8 different people turn Kaito into 150K a year opportunity. How did they get there, and how you can too? Master the Kaito algorithm, study and post about the pre-TGE arena, make a list of top yappers and reply guy, climb yaps in mindshare leaderboard. Easier said than done, but not impossible, especially the pre-TGE boards. Leverage mindshare board for partnerships with brands looking to increase their mindshare. This is smart. They're an expert in this area and have the numbers to back it. Post about those brands, and if they also have a pre-TGE board, they'll get those rewards too. Now they have airdrops and rewards from Kaito for being a top yapper and are landing additional partnerships from brands. So not only do you have like the direct, like, oh, I can go talk about Polkadot and earn extra money this month for talking about Polkadot. Also, the next boop that drops, there's a good chance that I might get an additional airdrop because I'm now viewed as a leading content creator in the space. It's just like, when the next DApp launches and they're looking for allocation, who should we drop our tokens to? Who should we incentivize? Who should we reward? They're not going on X and creating their own algorithm and trying to identify. They're going to Kaito like, oh, who should we work with? Who should we reward? I'm not saying everyone's going to do that. Like Doodles just had a TG. They didn't work with Kaito, I don't think. But I think more and more are going to go work with a third party like Kaito who already has that data, and they don't have to spend the time and energy to identify who these individuals are.
Yeah, I think go ahead, Jay.
I was going to say, you guys mentioned getting like somebody from Kaito on. It'd be interesting if you guys can get somebody who's paid Kaito, or not paid, or like has a customer of Kaito's to understand like what you pay what was the benefit of it? Because I don't know if we've seen any statistics on like if I pay Kaito 20, 30 grand or whatever it is, right? How many times am I talked about impressions, all that stuff? Because I don't think that's public, right?
Good call. I don't think we've seen that data either. Anecdotally, we've seen some of their clients become raving fans. Like top of mind because I'm in it right now, but like Zed Champions, they did the Kaito thing. I missed it. I was late getting out. I didn't get any rewards, even though I'm had a big bag. I'm still playing the game. Again, shame on me for dropping the ball, not talking about something I know about. Could have easily, like, had I spent 5 hours talking about Zed, it probably would have led to several $1,000s extra for me. Shame on me. They were raving about Kaito and the engagement it brought them. It helped them. They actually said, hey, if you dropped a project in 21 and you're looking to re-engage Web3 community, that you couldn't find a better opportunity than Kaito. That's their words, not mine. So it's like, yeah, we've seen anecdotal, some positive testimonials. I haven't seen anyone bash them or say it wasn't worth our money. And I think if they felt that way, you'd probably hear about it because it's a 6-figure sum. Like, it's not cheap. So I think if people were disappointed, I think we'd probably hear more about it on the timeline.
Yeah, I think Kaito is. I think people are happy because they know what it is. They're paying for attention. They're paying for marketing. They're getting attention. They're getting marketing. Diego saying, "I need more yaps. Captain and Steve, can you help?" I don't know how to get yaps. I am bad at this when it comes to the yapping thing. I need to actually explore more ecosystems and try. So if I can actually get some good answers and port them back to you, I certainly am happy to do that. But at least at the moment, I am not a top yapper, so I don't have a ton of I don't have a ton of sort of advice on what you can do to get on more top yap leaderboards. I am out on it, so I need to figure it out. Like I said, like Kaito, like it's working. People are people are getting out there. They're getting paid by it, and I think that pre-TGE leaderboard is the one to potentially play with. But it's just I don't know how that game works. Again, like, do you have to wait for the TGE? Like, this matters because, like, if you're like constantly yapping in your top 10 on a leaderboard, and then like the TGE comes around and a bunch of people get excited, talk about it, who like push you down the leaderboard, does that tangibly affect your airdrop? Does it? I don't know the answer. So I don't even know how many yaps I have. I don't even know where to check how many yaps I have because I'm so I haven't just been playing with Kaito at all, which makes me, again, probably way out of the loop and kind of an idiot on this one. I have 1,650 yaps. Is that a lot or not a lot, chat? You will have to tell me. Just that's total, though. That's not like the past week like I did. So I don't even know how to see my yaps in the past week. I'm trying to like look at like where my yaps have come from.
Wait a second. How many yaps do you have?
In total, just 1,650.
Fuck you.
Is that a lot? I don't know the answer. Like, I'm not like,
it's a decent amount. I mean, you're not in bread territory, but for someone who's not been paying attention, I have 685. Yes. And I pay attention. So yeah, you've done okay on the yaps.
I haven't been doing anything. Yeah. I've just. But
in Steve writes longer.
Yes. This is exactly the point. You don't have to farm yaps. Talk about things that are interested to you. Just the key is you have to put it in text. You have to put it on the timeline. You don't do what I'm doing. Don't just talk about it. Actually type it out, put it on the timeline, things that interest you, and don't worry about yaps. Just maybe once a week, once a month, check the platform and see how you're doing. But yeah, I think if you're farming yaps, you're doing it the wrong way. Don't farm it. Just talk about things you're interested in. And every once in a while, maybe once a week, you go look at their TGE, their pre-TGE arena, and see if there's anything there that you might want to do a deep dive on. If something interests you, talk about it. Maybe you get some yaps, maybe you don't. And when I say I pay attention, like, I'm not farming yaps, but this is actually, I think, the perfect like proof point here is I think about it. I have Kaito staked. I've been a fan of Kaito since day one. Steve, not so much. He's not like, he doesn't fund it or anything. He just doesn't really pay attention. He doesn't do anything. And he's got 3 times the amount of yaps I do. Why? Because he puts out a hell of a lot more written content than I do. And this is why Kaito is so good, I think, because you could say I have actively attempted to farm Kaito at times. Steve is not, and he has 3 times the amount of yaps I have because he's doing what they want people to do.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I have not tried. By the way,
you need to get Payne to get the transcription of the spaces so you have all the text, and then you can just convert that text into posts, Cap.
Well, no, you're exactly right. What we need to do, and Payne does this a lot, he puts out clips for us. I just need to take the clips and put it out on the timeline, put a little summary behind it. It's just, this is little stuff I should be doing. It's talking through it. It's like, this is some low hanging fruit for myself. But I also don't want you to think that, like, to participate in this, you have to have you have to have done 900 daily shows to qualify for this. There's people that, you talk about like ICO Beast, and there's a lot of others though that, where was ICO Beast 2 years ago? Probably less than 10,000 followers, probably less than 5,000 followers. Like a lot of these, Clemente is another one. They've had their come ups thanks to similar type of initiatives, similar programs. I just think that Kaito's the best we've seen yet. So the opportunity, I think, is better than ever before for someone who wants to create content in this space.
Yeah, and by the way, Diego, point of order, you put 1,615, 1,650. So 45. Put 35 more yaps on that. But yeah, no, I didn't know that's a lot. Like we have 1,650 total yaps, and I haven't checked it. I don't do it. I just put out content and see what happens. And sometimes it does well, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know what the smart followers things means. Like, I do engage on the timeline. I've mentioned to Cap, like, because the timeline's so messy, I have a list I created called Crypto Capybaras. Just randomly was thinking of a name, had some good alliteration to it. And I put people that I keep up with in the space on there. I check it every day. I reply, I retweet. It helps me out. So maybe that helps me because those people are pretty smart. Like, that has like the Breads of the world and the ICOs of the world, people like that. But I don't know. Maybe I'll start diving into ecosystems more. It was a goal of mine to do ecosystem exploration, but again, like, things get sidetracked by other stuff. But I could probably post similar stuff to what I currently post about existing projects. I'm gonna have. I'll just put it out there. I'm gonna have a call with Funky probably next week after he's back from consensus about Polkadot, because I thought, like, dot ecosystem seems to be bumping, and it's like, I don't know. Let's say the dot ecosystem gets me an extra $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year. When you back out taxes, you're basically getting like $7,000-8,000 bumped into your pocket on an annual basis for just yapping and tweeting. So it's one of those things that I want to look deeper into. I just don't have.
If you're not looking at the screen, I'm just going to read off some of these numbers. DYDX, $50,000 a month. It's 150,000 DYDX. So it's today that's valued at 50.
What are you looking at? What is this? Can you send me this link? I don't even know what this is.
This is just like, go to yaps.kaito.ai and click reward station. And these are all the current projects in the monthly, not total, but this is what they're giving away monthly. Multiply $10,000 USDC a month. Polkadot, as Steve mentioned, $100,000 a month. Not 100,000 dot. It's actually 600,000 dot, which is the equivalent of 100,000. Wait, I might have that in reverse. I think Polkadot is actually, oh no, it's 600,000 dot over 6 months. So it's 100,000 worth of dot every single month. Okay. It's just like, there's a lot. Somnia, I've seen like our guy Grateful and several in that, in the ape ecosystem. They're giving away 5,000 USD weekly plus 100,000 Somnia points. Like, they're all a little different. Some it's a percentage of supply. Some of these you may talk about and not get any points. I just think I'm really talking to myself here. I'm here. This is free money that I'm leaving on the table by not just being a little more disciplined in forcing myself to put out written content on the timeline, not to become like a walking billboard or like everything I put out is going to be paid advertisement. And I wouldn't go through and, I'm not going to talk about every one of these. I don't care about every one of these. But how many times have I talked about Boop on here? Never put out a tweet about it. There's 7.5% of the Boop supply. That's huge. And I did get a claim because I have more than 500.
What happens when you click on your just for me? Ooh, what if this is like Cap's like Instagram algo? Oh, okay. Like, you click on just for me and it's all the Instagram things that show up in your search tab, and it's like, go turn that down.
I have no idea what that is. Why that's just for me. I don't know.
I clicked on my just for me and it was the same one. So it's some crypto UX thing. I don't know. I probably need to dig. Diablito said I yap like a small dog. Apparently, I need to get. I think that's just saying I yap a lot. I need to get deeper into it, because if I'm organically, the other thing that probably helps me when they mention the smart followers thing is, I feel like when I put out that really thoughtful content, people like NFT Stats and Bread and other people like that, like, I get replies there, and it's probably. I wonder if Kaito values that people who have high credibility 100%. Scores reply.
Absolutely. So like you and myself, we have an advantage because we've been around for years. We've connected with a lot of these people. So like, yeah, I've got 2,700 smart followers, and they do value that. So 2763 number of smart follows, inner circle TD. They absolutely put a premium on that stuff. And that's like what to Clemente's point. If you don't have those smart followers yet, go identify them. Maybe you create your own X list of here's the top 20 yappers on Kaito. And when Bread posts something that's interested you, comment on it. Like I'm not saying it's easy. It does take work. Maybe you got to get a little lucky in the out. You catch one the algo right on one day. But the playbook, I think, is very straightforward. And like I said, I'm not farming it. I've not put like the grind towards it. But I do believe that if someone you actually enjoyed creating content, you didn't force it, and you said, okay, I want to make $100,000 just from Kaito this year. I think it's possible to do. I think someone could do it with a fresh account. I think you could spin up a brand new account, make 6 figures from Kaito this year just by, but it may be a full-time job. You may spend 34 hours a week just executing the playbook that Clemente just shared. But it's there. People are doing it today. I think and we've seen others. It's not just the ICO beast. Like Wales is one who I'd never even heard of before Kaito. And he's built a huge following of smart followers because he just executed the same playbook. So it's there. You may get frustrated if you're doing it a lot and you're not getting paid. That's why I would say don't look at it as a farm. Just like look at it as a direction. Here's some things, like if you're looking for things to talk about, there's your lead list. You may or may not get paid if you talk about it, but you're much more likely to get paid talking about those items than talking about something that's doesn't have any incentives tied to it.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that. I'll have to dig into it because if I'm getting yaps organically without it, I'm probably leaving a lot of money on the table. Polkadot seems like, it seems like Polkadot, Somnia, and Mega ETH would be like no-brainers for me because I think Somnia is interesting. Herman from Improbable, sort of the chain they're working on, consumer looking. Had a call with the founder of that, Paul, at one point recently, and really enjoyed that. Just hadn't followed up on that, much, but I thought it was an interesting proposition he had. Mega ETH, obviously, the speed and what I've used noise a little bit and played around on there. I should probably be talking about that. And then Polkadot's like my last one. It's really easy for me to pop that on there. So the chance that I could do that and just get a print.
You have a gold mine, Steve. I mean, I'm not even joking. Like, I'll give you financial. I think you should consider buying 500 Kaito and staking it. Like, I think like now you have advantage because you've built an account of a lot of smart followers. You're a writer. You have a best-selling book. Like, I don't like writing. I like talking. I don't like writing. But I know that I'm leaving potentially 6 figures on the table a year because I don't work a little bit. Like, who am I? I'm not above like spending a little bit of time to do something that feels like work. You're good at this. Like you really do have a goal. The fact that you have 600 yaps and you haven't even with zero effort, like it's very much in the range of outcomes that the next big Polkadot airdrop is ICO beast, it's funky, and yourself. Like if you put your mind to it, there's no doubt in my mind that you're probably, a top 3, a top 5 of any one of those protocols that you decide to start talking about.
Yeah, it's really interesting conversation because it's almost like I don't get frustrated about this. Like the market is the market. It's not something that bothers me like deeply. Like there's like a 5% like, oh, that kind of sucks. But I make the comment sometimes that I like really deep thinking, smart content. I spend hours working on things. I'll put together a video, I'll put together a thread. I think about something really deeply. And then like, it'll do like a quarter of like, I'll say this because I love the dude. Like it'll do like probably like 5% of a post that Clemente Dancing gets, right? Like I'll put out a post that it'll get like 2,000 impressions, or a really good one might do 10,000 or 20,000 or something. And then there's like 100,000 on like Get Rich Nick saying like you sold. And I'm like, damn. But like, I don't mind that. Good for them. But like, if I apply,
I think that's an important part of it. Because I think if all you did was a really well thoughtful research post about something on the Kaito leaderboard, people are going to start muting you and blocking you and just stop paying attention. I think you have to be somewhat normal on the timeline. You have to mix in entertaining things. You can't be I don't think you should be a 24/7 paid shill. Like I think it's like, hey, do some stuff that's purely funny and engaging, and you're not going to make a dime off of it. But I think like putting out content like that in like you do that today. So I think like you would just add one piece and.
Well, and like I wouldn't even approach it the same way. The way I would approach it using AI is a little different than most people. So what I would probably do if I was putting this together, if I were to tackle this task, is I would find my ecosystems, and instead of saying write me tweets, I would say what should I explore, and then I would put in some thoughts and workshop some ideas around it, and then I would have it work on art for me for those things, and then I would put it out where I would use it directionally to talk about like what dApp should I explore and how should I explore them versus what because to your point, I talk about all these things on the show and I don't yap about it. So yeah, maybe I'll get in the yap game. I think it's good. I think like on that note, you mentioned like the farming. So like let's talk about the evolution of this farming a little bit real quick. You know, I know we talked about, you know, we hit Coinbase S&P 500 a little bit and macro stuff. Blast seems like it is in a death spiral. But would you say the evolution of this is Portal Coin, Pac Moon / Blast to a point Fantasy Top? Because Fantasy Top is a weird social fi that I still don't like Fantasy Top for right reasons. I know people like it. I'm not a fan, but like that's sort of the evolution. And now Kaito is the next best version of all of these, and that's sort of the direction. Did I miss any steps in there?
I mean, I guess they're like if you're. I mean, I think if you're going to talk Fantasy Top, you probably got to at least hit on Friend Tech. I think all like they're very. I think Friend Tech and Fantasy Top very different. I think those.
Yeah,
are
but Friend Tech was like timeline. Fantasy Top was like
still
hey,
timeline.
Securitize yourself, Ponzi, buy my thing, and I get a private chat access. Like that was. I don't look at that way. Like I know people like Friend Tech. I was never a fan of Friend Tech. I saw the writing on the wall there.
I think both Friend Tech and Fantasy Top are more social fi than info fi, and I don't think either of these are quite the exact right terms, but I think those are different than what we're. Yes, they probably all one way or another led to this evolution, but I think that's a distinction from social fi, like what my like. I don't know, leveraging someone's social clout versus talking about other third-party products.
Yeah, it's different. And I guess that's like kind of we're at this like iteration where it's almost like we have quote unquote blast to thank for some of this, you know, where like the Pac Moon in particular was a more elegant version of Portal Coin, which I was never a hater on that sort of thing, but that to me was an interesting evolution, right? And I don't know, man. Like I guess this is sort of the final form of that, but I'm curious, where it goes. I did want to hit on Blast a little bit just because I've seen a little Blast, a lot of Blast foot on the timeline recently. And what happened? Like what happened with Blast from your perspective? Because I'll leave it open-ended, but like, what do you think happened to Blast?
I think they threw in the towel. I think it was, as I reflect now, I think from my perspective, it was Pac-Man saw that Blur, the beginning of the end had already started for Blur, that they already hit their top, and there was, they were just going to, they were never going to capture that market share again, most likely. And he had to do something new. So he speed ran the L2 and had it, the first Ponzi was good, but I think by the time of TGE, to me, there was almost no effort even to make the thing a go. The fact that they launched that mobile app, like it was this is the consumer app, this is the consumer chain, this is gonna be a mobile app, and they launched it with like a single dApp on it, was just like the execution pre-TGE was good. I thought the points, the jackpot, like it was one of the best pre-TGE executions we've seen yet, I think.
Was it, or was it a casino Ponzi? Sorry, go ahead. Keep cooking. I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's fine for pre-TGE, but then they had nothing post-TGE. It was like they just mailed it in. Like, okay, we did our thing. Like, yeah, and there's I don't think there's any recovery now. Like their Dex is leaving. Someone else just said someone stopped supporting the chain. Yeah, I think this might have been the plan all along. Just like, hey, let's launch a chain. We'll put a lot into pre-TGE. We'll get our tokens. We'll cash out, and then the thing's just going to die. But this is an easy way for us to go make, I don't know what he made, $100 million or something, probably silly.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. I was not a fan of Blast early on in the way people were farming it. And again, this is not the retrospect or a victory lap or anything like that. I think as a chain, like they had some interesting stuff early on. I thought the reward system and the gold system was interesting, the way that they were doing it for dApps building on there. But it was almost like, did Pac-Man just get bored? Like, is he just like like we had a thing where we talked about Kevin Rose and like the similarities with Pac-Man, where Pac-Man does a venture, burns really hot and fast, gets a lot of attention, then boom, he's out. And then like did Pac-Man just get bored? Did he just build something and was like, all right, well, I don't know if I want to keep doing this thing, but I made a bunch of money. I made money for VCs. I'm out. Like, because I wasn't a fan of the farming at the beginning. I said at the beginning, people are going to get wrecked, right? And like crypto values is a good example of that, as well as, I think for other people, depending on how you thought about whatever that division or D2 or whatever that thing is you were in that I didn't check in on, where people had mixed experiences. I was just never into the apps, because I was like, I just want to use a dApp that I want to use. And so like Beezie was great when it was on there. And IKB was great because I used daily I played season-long fantasy, football.
Wait, they need to move, by the way. That might be the last IKB might be the last remaining dApp on Blast at this rate.
Are they still on there doing stuff? I haven't checked in a while. Like, can I still draft? Because I like their draft system way better. I don't want to enter a daily fantasy draft. I don't want to spend hours on my computer picking and stuff. I know that's your jam, so I'm not knocking it for you. Love that for you, not for me. I love that I could just pick up and score it like a daily fantasy league and pick that up. I think that's a great system. It's just, so like, I like some of the dApps on there, and I thought early on it was good, but like, I don't know, it ended up like people didn't feel TGE made them whole. A lot of people found that staking, or I should say bridging, got them more money than using the dApps. And like, it's messy. It's never easy. And then after TGE, it was like kind of crickets. Like they talked about like, building a chain for the future. Jen Defer had made this really cool video that she had put together for Pac-Man in partnership with the foundation and got named to it. They named all these people. And then it was like, I just wonder what's happening behind closed doors there, because it's just crickets. And like, they had this attention, and created products that people were using, and then it's gone. So,
well, I've got $70 in my IKB account. I don't know where that came from. I thought I'd cash everything out. They're also requiring ID verification now, which is fine, but yeah, it's first time it doesn't look like they've got best ball back or anything yet at this point, but they still have their daily picks maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. If I were them, I'd move chains, to your point. Like, I think there's opportunities in other chains to potentially use them. But I even can't find, I can't even find, because X searches is kind of rough to find the IKB site. And I used to have a bookmark, but I think it deleted my bookmark. What's that?
IKB.gg.
That's easy. Because I had a bookmark, but then I lost the bookmark, I think, because I deleted all my Blast information. So I don't even know how to log in anymore. So we'll see if I have any. Nope, my balance is still 0. I cashed out, but I did quite well. I did quite well. I should look at what my cash outs are. My ROI, it says, is, I don't know, it says 148%, but I think it was better than that, because I finished, I won $425 in one best ball, 100 in another. So I did pretty well in the best ball things, 400 in another. So I had a whole lot of best balls that I played. It was fun, 35 in another. So yeah, I cashed out. I was free rolling by the time we got past that first round. I really liked that. I thought it was a cool app. But yeah, as far as Blast goes, it just feels like they threw in the towel, to your point, or they stopped trying as hard. And then you have all these other ecosystems that are like building, and it just feels like I appreciate the system they put together. But I don't know. So I gotta explore more on some of these rewards, because I think that was I think that is an alpha that we saw with Blast, and I find that interesting. So I don't know. Why are you sighing?
I want to talk about something, but I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it for you, Steve. We'll talk about it offline. There's something I really want to talk about, but I'm not going to do it at your expense.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. We will chat offline, and I will say one way or another, but I have probably
finding my team for the team.
One strong direction that it could be.
You know exactly. Well, you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, but yeah, you know the direction I'm talking about.
Possibly a drop or anything I could see, but yeah, we'll see. we'll see what that looks like. But yeah, no, I'll be curious what you're talking about related to that, because that's that'll be interesting. But what other? I mean, that said, like that's kind of my my stack for the day. What else do you have?
Shut down the show now so we can have the offline conversation.
What's that you say?
You ready to shut down the show now so we can have the offline conversation?
Well, no, I like, it was a lighter morning. It was some macro stuff. Like I opened some VFriends cards yesterday, Coinbase and S&P 500 macro talk is pretty exciting to where we're going there. I had Blast on my list in L2s. We obviously had Clawfee with Captain.
Guys, I am transparent and I will talk about this. It's just not the right time. I'm not trying to be vague or cryptic. It's just, I need to be a professional, and I'm going to do that today.
I like that. I like the growth. I like what you're doing there.
But boy, oh boy, is there a spicy tamale in there right now.
I'm so curious though. Well, let's move off that, and yeah, Payne's gonna get the full details on it when we debrief. What else do you have on your tick list today? Because that was sort of my tick list for the first 90. Potentially having Doodles on the team this week. I'll just put it out there. We were gonna have him on Monday, and it didn't quite work out, but we're maybe gonna have Doodles on the team this week. So we're maybe gonna hopefully trying to swing it so we could have him on Thursday, so Bunchu can help us translate DreamNet. So that's the goal here. So working on that a little bit. I know we're working on booking some other guests this week. What else is on your mind this week?
I mean, do we talk much about the Coinbase, the effect of the, is it a bigger thing entering the S&P 500 than for just us here?
It's a big thing. So the reason it's a big thing, I kind of put this in my thing and I'll kind of combine it with some other information. So if you're being added to the S&P 500, Stats had a good tweet about this. You have to be profitable for a quarter and a full year, meaning it's no small feat to continue to be profitable across the board. They want representation across the full economy. This is a clear statement that crypto is part of the economy. Other criteria, $18 billion market cap, US-based public float of 10% plus were quite easy. Overall, a pretty big crypto statement in his opinion. And then my tweet that I put out that I pinned at the top earlier as well. A couple years ago, Kevin O'Leary said something to the effect of crypto is just great software. I think it'll be the 12th sector of the S&P 500. Now, as Coinbase enters the S&P 500, perhaps poetically replacing Discover, the first domino in that future just tipped. So just feeling like we are moving towards crypto being a sector of the S&P 500, a larger part of the economy. I think that there is a lot of, I don't know. I think there's a lot of opportunity for more crypto. Like Coinbase is the first one, unless you count MicroStrategy, which isn't really a crypto company. It's just a Bitcoin holding company. Because I don't even know I don't think MicroStrategy. I don't know if MicroStrategy in the S&P 500. I probably not. I don't know actually. Now that I say that, but it's like got a much bigger market cap than Coinbase. But it's a big deal. Like it's a big deal. It means that the S&P 500 is trying to track the American economy. When I tell people about investing and I say, you dollar cost average into your IRA and all those other things, you're putting money against the S&P 500, like because the S&P 500 tracks the economy. Putting Coinbase in there means that they think that Coinbase is part of the economy. They think crypto is part of the economy. So what'll be interesting to see if more companies in the crypto industry start to nudge their way in there as they become bigger. And it's just I don't know. It's first of a big thing. So I think the big signal is that the American economy is looking at crypto as part of it. Like that's a big move forward. So that's my main takeaway.
Yeah. I agree. And I think it all does add to, the earlier thought that the next big wave of crypto participants may not necessarily be the end users coming in to buy NFTs or meme coins. I think it could be a wave of more businesses, and I'm not talking just businesses putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet, rather actually building on chain, exploring how to build on chain. I mean, we haven't really talked about FIFA and, I can't remember the actual name of the game, same makers as NFL Rivals, and their move on chain. Like just, I see more and more of this happening, and I don't know, good time to be here for sure. Also, thanks, RisBrian, you reminded me to put on it's PGA Championship week. So any golfers out there, we got a major this week. Get your gonna have to fire some golf best ball lineups this week, Steve. Yeah, exciting time to be here. I feel like now I got to go get some work done. I've got a lot of great suggestions today too, how I can put my verbal thoughts into words. I just don't want it to come across as I'm sure there's a fine line here, right? Like I don't want it to come in across as like I'm some paid shill, and anything I put out on the timeline is stuff because I'm going to get paid for it. But so I don't know. If it comes too much, if it seems like I've went too far, I'm going to ask this group to be real with me and say, hey, we want you to go back to the old cap and stop tweeting. But it's a miss for me not to put more written content out on the timeline, especially for where the space is heading.
Yeah, no, it's a thing. Like, I just naturally like to do it, to your point, but it's something I'm going to be thinking a little bit more acutely about over the next probably several months. I mean, why not pick, like I said, like, I don't think I want to do everything or spray and pray. Like, I think it's like picking 3 ecosystems. Like, if I put out a tweet, like every other day about one of those ecosystems, it's not the end of the world. If I put out 3 tweets a day and one's about each ecosystem, it's not that big of a deal. And by the way, it might help my X check, which they've gotten rid of botting. My X check without a ton of work was like over $100 this past pay period, which is crazy because I was way down on impressions. So might bump up those impressions too. So that's a goal. We'll see if we can do it. Maybe play around. It's been on my to-do list for a little bit, but I got sidetracked by a little bit of a side quest at the moment, so I wasn't able to do it. But yeah, we shall see. But what else you got, Cap?
Cool Chick hosting Illa and Baron at 10, doing a new series over the next few weeks. Topic about hosting spaces. So on the topic of creating content, that's if you're looking to continue the conversation, that I believe it's today here in like 20 minutes.
And I owe her a reply because I know she was talking about getting us on at some point, and I just haven't. I'm trying to figure out when it actually works in my schedule to make that work. So Cool Chick, appreciate you. Looking forward to that. Should be a good one.
And we've got a new like dashboard, if you will, for Mega ETH testnet. Putting that up top, live apps, upcoming mints, and individual application guides. So do we know what, like, have we heard or any idea of an update on not Mega ETH, but like Monad and all these other ones that haven't launched yet? Is there any idea? I
mean, I it's hard to keep up with all of them, honestly. I don't really have one. But here's actually a good example. So where I probably leave money on the table, I'm a big retweeter because I want to give credit to the original people. If I just either quote tweet or take that tweet and write it in my own words, the Mega ETH one I just retweeted, that's free leaderboard points. Like, even if it's just like 200 impressions, free leaderboard points. So I'm probably like just need to change some of my behaviors to that, instead of like retweeting and flooding my timeline with retweets. Be better about that. Yeah, I got Funky coming up here to probably finish the gym, crush some legs. I'm sure he does 13 leg days per week. I think, or 27 leg days per week. But I know we got Funky up here to hit us a little bit. So, Funky, I know we're going to talk Polkadot in a couple weeks, but feel free to get in here with any other thoughts.
Hey, GM guys. No, I'm literally just packing to head out for consensus, and I'm sure Brett could speak to Mega ETH much better than I could, right? He's a team member. He's listening in. But they're definitely plugging away. They're constantly talking about like the upgrades to the testnet and everything else that they're doing. A lot of cool things going on Mega ETH. So definitely pay attention to that still. Monad is definitely moving much slower. I can tell you that just from, talks to other companies that we work with on the periphery for validators, for MEV clients and stuff like that. Like, the joke is one of the teams that we're working with said, we're doing another round, and our raise is called Monad is still not launching mainnet, so we're doing another round. So like, that's kind of just the running joke. I don't know why Monad is still dragging behind, but I think they're supposed to launch another testnet very soon, and that should be the final one, and then mainnet should be theoretically shortly after that. So, and honestly, I can just tell you, as someone who's the head of protocol partnerships at an infra provider, there's so many things launching right now. It's hard to keep up with it all. So, totally get that. There's a lot of cool things coming up, Pharaohs, Plasma, others. So, always happy to jump in. And I just heard you guys talking about it. And of course, anytime you need to talk about Polkadot, don't hesitate to tap me and I'll jump in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I was just saying on that one, I think it's one that both Steve and myself are done talking about it, and we're actually going to do the work now. Where would we start? Where's the best place to? What would you recommend? Like, is there a particular? Hey, this is really cool in the ecosystem. Go check this out today, guys. Is there something that you would recommend Steve and I both starting our Polkadot research with or on?
I mean, I would say, like, in fact, today, if you go to my feed right now at the very top, I just had Bifrost. So like the DeFi is really starting to pop off right now. So The two main app chains that are involved in that are Bifrost, which is the liquid staking token. They've been in liquid staking long before it was super popular. And so, what you can do there, and I did like a little short chunked out guide where it's, under a minute, each little segment showing you, take your dot, stake it. So you're basically securing the network, but then you're getting the VDOT token that you can then deploy in different DeFi opportunities. So that's a great place to start, super easy. Even if you just start with like 100 dot and you're just playing around and just trying things out, like ICO Beast is doing a phenomenal job of just kind of feeling out the ecosystem and writing about it, just in a very organic way. And he's crushing it on the leaderboards for the Yapper stuff. He was #1 last month. So that's a great place to start. Hydration is like the main DeFi hub beyond that, where you can borrow, all the things you would typically associate with DeFi. One thing I was talking about yesterday, and this is an important point, there is no smart contract risk on Polkadot because everything is baked into what are called pallets, which are custom runtime modules that are literally part of the runtime code. So there is no smart contract risk. Could there be risk to the pallets? Yes, of course. Everything's audited, super safe. No one, the tech is outstanding. Polkadot effectively has solved many of the problems that existed for a long time, whether it's scaling, sharding, all this stuff. That's why Gavin Wood, who built Ethereum, effectively left Ethereum to kind of build Polkadot. The problem is Polkadot just has no hype. So the Kaito, Yapper stuff has definitely helped bring new eyeballs to the ecosystem because the tech is very good. And like they did a TPS test some months ago where, they were only using 23% of the cores on Kusama, which is the Canary network, the kind of sister network to Polkadot, and that hit 143,000 TPS. So it's capable of handling a massive load. It's just, as Brad would tell you, like many other blockchains, right? Block space is not really in demand. There's tons of it, so it is still cheap. And I think ultimately, like where this is all going is block space will be commoditized. And like one of our co-founders always talks about, and you guys remember this because you're older like me. When back in the day when we used to have to pay 10 cents for a text, or it was $1 to call somebody per minute for long distance. Most people who are listening are like, "What kind of world is that?" But that existed back in the 80s and 90s. That's kind of the world we're in with blockchain right now. Like everything is super expensive. It's easy to make money, but it's all going to trend towards zero, where it'll become negligible to operate any of these things. Most of these tokens, get it while you can, this whole speculative nature of the industry, because eventually it's going to die off, right? Like a lot of this will be sort of consolidated and subsumed into larger projects. And so anyhow, I probably should get going because I got to pack and get in an Uber and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say Bifrost and Hydration are the two best places to start. You guys know my DMs are open. Anybody who has questions can ping me underneath the threads or just ping me in general on X, and always happy to help.
Appreciate you, Funky. Safe travels. And yeah, probably will be pinging you as we start our exploration and deep dive. But yeah, appreciate you bringing the alpha. And do you mind? I think I'm going to ask, I think you did share it publicly, but do you mind sharing what your last Polkadot reward from Kaito was?
I was second, and that was $6,400. Awesome. First is 9,300. There's a chart. I'll dig up the chart and send it to you guys. Basically, the top 5 people capture the lion's share. Like the top 5 people share like 30 grand, and then it falls off after that. But I mean, you could still be in the top 50 and make like $1,000 bucks. I mean, it's because they're literally giving away $100,000 a month. So the top 100 people all get something. It's really the top 5. It's like 9,300, 6,400, 4,800, and it kind of goes down, and it's like 30 something. So it's like 25 grand or 30 grand for like the top 5 people combined. And then it like falls off, but it's still, like one of my buddies who just does it kind of casually. And he says, I literally just like bull post random memes and shit. And he got like over $1,000. So it's easy to get into. It's a, fun community. It's a total bunch of nerds. I mean, it's deep down the nerd rabbit hole because everybody's super into the tech. But, everybody that you probably will meet, very happy to help you and very friendly.
I know you got to get running. One more question if you have time. How do you answer someone who says, well, I'm a Polkadot holder and I don't particularly like this. I don't think it's good value. I don't think it's helping. Any response to that?
I mean, I think the thing is, in general, again, because Polkadot and Gav in general is not interested in hype, right? I mean, I think Bread had a great, Gavin is not a good leader, in terms of being sort of a vocal founder, like when you think of, say, a Charles Hoskinson for Cardano, He's not the typical kind of cult leader. This dude literally stepped down from the CEO position because he does not like to manage people. And he's just a builder. He's just someone who likes to actually code all the time. You go look at his GitHub commit, it's insane. And so he's always, the whole Gretzky skate to where the puck is going. I think that's why Polkadot lacks a lot of hype, because he's always building tech for the future, not for today. So like right now, the thing that they're working on is Jam, which is join, accumulate, machine. And what he effectively wants to turn the whole Polkadot system into is like a decentralized AWS that can run anything. He already ran Doom, the old video game, on it, on just a couple of servers, which is super impressive to have, like a first person shooter, even albeit an older one, just running with no lag and everything on a blockchain. And so this is kind of where it's all going. And I think that they're more focused on trying to bring on enterprise business, like you were saying earlier, Cap, like in terms of just trying to get businesses to build on chain. That's what they're going for. They're not, I think, too concerned with your every average day degen, in our space. And I think that also hurts its image because, for instance, there's very little NFT culture there anymore. What exists is in Polkadot, which is a great, cool little marketplace, and it's a lot of generative art. But by and large, you don't see sort of the attention making headlines, because I'll just be the first to admit, like, VCs were burned. VCs do not want to invest in Polkadot because back when in the last cycle, as you guys remember, Polkadot ripped. It was very, very hyped. And so they had a crowd loan mechanism where people would loan DOT to a parachain team. This is like a sovereign L1 rollup running on top of the relay chain, which provides all the security and finality. And basically, you locked up all your DOT and the bear market came. So people were buying DOT $30, $40, $50 to lock up to get these tokens. These tokens come out. They all got burned on the parachain tokens. The DOT was locked up for, in most cases, for up to 2 years. So by the time you got your DOT back, you were basically way down. So I think this is what also hurt it over the intervening years. And now what they're trying to do very much is just rehab the image of Polkadot and showcase that, hey, we do have great tech. It is superior. Most people don't realize it. And another thing that I think also hurts the ecosystem, just being honest to someone who's been involved for 5 years, is that back in 2020 or 2021, you used something like what was called Polkadot JS, which is really the dev console. And there was an extension that was a wallet. It was clanky. It was janky. It sucked. It was a terrible UX. All those things have been solved. All those things have disappeared. You can get a Talisman wallet if you're a desktop person. Works like any other wallet. Does EVM stuff too. Nova Wallet is an amazing mobile wallet solution. I even use it, and I'm not a mobile wallet guy, because you can do everything. You can stake, you can do your governance voting, you can do everything right through that simple UI. It's very clean. So all those problems that created so much friction back then have now been ameliorated, and to where we're just trying to reintroduce people to the ecosystem and say, like, hey, this is a really cool, and it is so composable. The Polkadot SDK, we're starting to see other teams that have built on this because it's so flexible and you can build literally anything you want with it. So you see teams like Avail, which was spun out of Polygon, building on the Polkadot SDK. Starknet, or whatever it was called, that was also built on the Polkadot SDK. Midnight, which is coming out of IOHK, also built on the Polkadot SDK. So many of them are using the dev console, like the base layer, to build whatever you want. So there's a lot of things that are happening, but again, it's just lacking all the typical hype and dopamine hits and everything else that people are talking about. So I think the Yapper campaign is a great way to get attention and mind share and bring new people like you guys into the ecosystem. This is the thing I've been talking about. Even B-Check on Mod Market said, like, it's crazy that you want to dilute your rewards. And as someone who's been involved in the ecosystem and cares about the people and the tech, I'm like, I don't care. I'd rather have less money and have more people take, just an interest in it and just explore and find out what's cool and what's not and give feedback. And that's how it gets better. That's how we all help iterate. So anyhow, I really got to jump in the shower. Thanks for giving me the time, guys.
Appreciate you. One of the good ones, and well deserved on your second place ranking last month, and that reward. And Steve, I think one of the things that he just got me thinking too is not just like Polkadot. What other protocols or chains or dApps have been out for years and had challenges? So maybe it was market related, maybe it was they were just too early, the tech wasn't ready, but they have continued to build. They've had their heads down. Like I don't even have any that are on top of my mind, but something like that's all, for all intents and purposes, been forgotten about, right? What is it? Ethia has been forgotten about, but yet it's still there. Like the fundamentals are better than ever before. Like I'm not saying Polkadot's going to rip back to all-time highs. Maybe it does, but there's got to be others that kind of hit that Pico top last Mania and and then just crashed down 90, 95, 99%. I'm guessing most of them never recover, but there's probably some that have just built relentlessly for the last few years, and it's just a matter of getting the attention back, and now they may really be onto something. I don't know. That was my thought as he was talking about that. I was like, yeah, I wonder how many other opportunities are there like that. They're in there from the like an execution or operational standpoint or the actual product standpoint, it's better than they've ever been, and their token value is down 99% because of timing of market and when they launched, and I don't know.
Multiple people call them Polygon in the chat. I think Flow's another interesting one. They both are really good chains with like really good dApps, and I think they're both doing just fine. But if they want to get more in I think there is a world where Kaito pulls in a lot of those big ones, and that's the ethos that they could pull them into. I mean, yeah, can NFT projects do it? Should they? Right? Like, should I'm making it up. Should Moonbirds or Bored Ape Yacht Club do it? Or like here's a question.
I mean, like to your point on Flow, I guess, I mean, it's $700 million market cap. So that's probably, I guess, fully diluted, unlocked is 563 million. Like, I guess that's probably maybe where it should be. But you think about its all-time high it was like $35. The token's 45 cents. They have more today than they had in 2021, right? I understand like they're where they're at in their life cycle is not even remotely the same, but like they've continued to land big brands. They've continued to build, and so I guess like the fundamentals today, arguably better than ever before, and yet their token price remains down 99%.
And I know Ape Chain's going quacks, but it's like, why? Like, is there a way that NFT projects could do this thing? Could Bored Ape do it in a way that gets, leaderboards and they filter out fun and give it to the top people, and then that's a reward to the community? Could could they do it for like Moonbirds if they want more people talking about Moonbirds and what they build there again, right? Like, is there a world where they could do that with like potential with, ApeCoin? Is there a world where, again, Flow does something like that and you get people talking NBA Top Shot a little more and get people talking Beezie and other things like that and exploring? And like, yeah, most of the people are going to get the rewards and leave, but if you raise millions of dollars, what is $100,000 to for whatever time period, 6 months, a year, whatever that time is, plus rewards? Like, I could tell you that a couple $100,000 in budget there could be well spent for a lot of these organizations who have the money to do so. I mean, we were talking about Good Vibes Club earlier. I don't think they need it, but it's like, again, I don't know what they would give out or how they would do it, but it's like Good Vibes Club is, sitting at, my estimations were $500,000 in royalties. $500,000 in royalties. Take 20% of that, toss it at Kaito, and have a reason or a mission or a goal. Like, I think that there's opportunity for a lot of them there. So
there is. I don't know if they need it right now because
not them specific, but it's like I'm saying like that type of thing, right? Not Good Vibes specifically because they're doing just fine, but like, why wouldn't? Again, I don't think Bored Ape Yacht Club needs it. They have plenty of organic, but like, wouldn't hurt to be like, hey, we want to reward our community. I know they're doing Ape Chain on Quack, so that's probably more of a strategic decision to say, hey, we're doing Ape Chain, we're doing it on Quacks, and we're trying to get more people talking Ape Chain. But like those types of things, like I know it wasn't a fit for Dude, but like for DreamNet, it could be. Like we talked about that. Sure. Like, why not DreamNet? So feels like a good use of money in a lot of places for a lot of people, and I look forward to seeing who does it. So I don't know. Made it to 10 though, Cap. Any other cleanup or parting thoughts before we get out of here?
Funky did share his post up top. Go check that out if you enjoyed this conversation this morning and you'd like to dive deeper. You've got one of the best. I mean, you just heard from number 2 last month on the Polkadot, and I like he does it the way you should do it. It doesn't seem spammy. Do I know that he's likely to get paid for these posts when he sends them? Yeah, but it's not every post that he does, and it's educational. It's good information, and yeah, if you're not following Funky, go Funky follow. Go check out the thread up top. And to close this down, Steve, I saw Gelazo from Flow jumped up. Gelazo, are we running back to $33 per Flow token? GM
guys, it's so funny. I was just listening to you guys from the Flow official account on the stream, and I was like, oh, you guys talking about Flow? I gotta jump in here and get up on stage. Listen, you guys are bringing up some really interesting conversations. I'm in no position to be talking about token prices and the rest of it. What I can say is I like what you're thinking. I think you're thinking about stuff the right way. Not to shill Flow here, but some very interesting metrics coming out, and I share these again, not to shill, but to say token price of the native asset is not the only way to look at the value of an ecosystem, right? If you look at Flow, we just put out our weekly report, and last week put out our monthly report. And we'll have a full Masari report on Q1 coming out later today as well. So keep an eye out for that. But fastest dev growth by an L1 over the last quarter of any L1. We have highest TVL growth in terms of percent growth again of any of those as well. And you can see in the metrics that although it doesn't necessarily equate to smart contract growth, which it actually does right now, that's not necessarily a one-to-one. What happens first is you need the builders to come and build, which we're now starting to focus on over the last quarter, which has not been a high priority over the last couple of years. And once the builders are here and they realize, oh, you can actually build your own apps on top of NBA Top Shot. You can take NBA Top Shot moments that are relatively common and exchange those for fungible tokens that have a clear tradable value, and then stake that and get yield on that. There's all sorts of cool, interesting stuff being developed in the ecosystem, and that's not only happening on Flow, right? Other L1s, other L2s are doing similar things, and although that's not necessarily reflected in the token price, it's reflected in other ways, like again, dev growth, TVL, where although our token price is down significantly, our TVL is at all-time highs today. So interesting ways that you can continue to evaluate ecosystems. Wondering how you guys think about those metrics as well as you're talking about L1s and L2s.
I agree. I love it, and I think probably one of the most underrated metrics in all of crypto is dev growth. How did you attract that many devs? Are you incentivizing them? Is there grants? Like, what? How is that? Is it pure?
So yeah, good question. I mean, so something that we're really focused on is listen, I've been on the team for 6 weeks, right? So and I'm on the social media side, so I can't speak to every part of what's been going on in Flow's entire history. But yes, hackathons and incentivization campaigns are very important. Like right now, for example, we have a campaign going out throughout the month of May, inspired by May the 4th be with you. It's May the Flow be with you. And the idea there is if you are contributing to our docs anywhere, the devs will understand it if you just check some of our recent posts. You're every single day we're doing another giveaway for Flow. So we are encouraging people to contribute. If you can code an EVM, if you can code in Cadence, however you're able to contribute, play around in the ecosystem, and you're entered into what could be considered a raffle potentially to potentially earn some Flow tokens. I got to be careful about how I talk about this stuff for legal reasons and whatnot, but it's a really fun campaign, and we're getting people who are just vibe coding cool apps who could do it on ETH L1, but it's cheaper to do on Flow if you're using the Flow wallet. All gas is sponsored, so there's no gas fees, and you can just build the same apps you would be building on ETH, but on Flow. We made interoperability a really important focus over the last couple of quarters, which previously was not, right? When I entered Web3 through NBA Top Shot in 2020, 2021. And at the time, it was a walled garden. So when I really got into Web3, I saw my Flow assets in my Dapper wallet, and then I had the rest of my ETH world completely separate. Over the last couple of years, it's been a big focus to make that interoperability much easier. We're seeing DeFi and stablecoins as one of the most interesting areas of growth right now, which to me indicates if you'd rather have your stablecoin on Flow versus Base, that's just trust for the ecosystem, right? It's a stablecoin. So, where you're getting yield, through platforms like Anchor and Kitty Punch, and your ability to spend those things, right? There's opportunities for stablecoins all over the place. The fact that so much traffic and so much volume is being brought onto the chain over the last 2 months, especially in the stablecoin area, is definitely something to pay attention to. So between the dev growth, TVL growth, DeFi interest on Flow, which is not an area that was super big until pretty recently, we're seeing the wide world of Web3 really start to pay attention to Flow in a way that, previously it was just looked at as the retail chain, right? You didn't need to know anything about crypto. Now Flow EVM is in your MetaMask wallet. So it's as simple as bridging, using bridges like everyone's familiar with for, you moving L1s to L2s, but now you're moving L1 to L1, simple, EVM equivalent, not EVM compatible, working with Pectra, already having devs who are capable of coding in our coding languages. So we're really focused on making it as easy as possible, considering there's only 30,000, Web3 devs, period. So how can we capture as much of that attention as possible? It's just do stuff that makes their lives easier. So that's really what we're focused on now. We're also focused on getting the next generation of devs, just really focusing on the vibe coding narrative, making it super easy if you're using AI to build on Flow as well. And again, sorry for just shilling out the wazoo here, because we're certainly not the only ones doing this. But the whole point that I'm really trying to hammer down is we're no longer a walled garden, and I think that's what Web3 is doing a really good job of in general. I think over the last year of making it super easy to move assets between chains. And if you get a good, better APY for your stablecoins on one chain versus another, you should be going to that chain and you should be building there instead.
Agreed. Yeah, no, great update. No apology needed on the shill. We appreciate the update and congrats. Great quarter. And yeah, I think these are all important metrics, especially the attracting the devs, and not going to get into more details, but I can see, I believe that's a cultural thing as well. Just some conversations that Steve and I've had with the team, that it's a real focus from the top down. And I'll just say this in closing, next time you talk to Roham, let him know that I too came into NFTs by way of Top Shot in 2021. And I still hold a complete set of the Cool Cats bag, waiting for my truckload or garbage truckload of flow to be dumped into my wallet someday.
I'll tell him you're waiting for it.
I kid, but not really.
No, we had a couple calls. I had a couple calls with some people in Flow leadership. I've had calls with Roham and other people, and the way that Flow talks about their chain is really, really bullish for the thought process of not, hey, we need more transactions. It's like, well, maybe transactions aren't the things, but we want to get devs and good dApps built. Like, that is a bullish statement to me.
So many things chasing transactions and just TVL, and Flow actually focusing on, we talk about, we need more apps, we need more consumer apps, not just more chains. Well, they're actually focusing on the people who are building those consumer apps. So yeah, I think it's a wise strategy.
So I think, by the way, we need to talk. Did you could just sell CryptoPunks? Breaking. Maybe. It was rumored. I see a tweet going out, and then we'll end it. We'll put it tomorrow. But I see CryptoPunks.
Infinite Node acquired the CryptoPunks IP from Yuga Labs.
Yeah, Infinite Node Foundation, nonprofit, Gordon and Snowfro sitting on the board. So that's big. That's big. So something to talk about tomorrow. We could tease it through. I know it's 10 o'clock, but maybe talk about that with you continuing to focus, which I think is a good thing. Ape Chain and the club seem to be the big things. So we'll look at that. I'll
post Gordon's post up top if anyone missed it. What's your gut reaction? Initial reaction, Steve?
I think we knew it was coming, so I think that's or it was a likely outcome, right? I mean, it's sad because it's a cool. I don't know.
I think it's just a natural evolution. I think it's like, it just makes sense. Like, there's for what I believe Yuga and where they're heading. I don't know as if it makes, for the value of that IP and that asset, I don't know if it makes any sense for their business. Like, it's nothing that they were ever going to monetize, right? It's like the holders don't want them to do anything with it. They attempted to do some stuff and got blowback. It's like, why sit on an asset that's valuable, that's like, at best, it's just going to appreciate. Like, it's not going to be a profit center for them ever. And yeah, I don't think it's sad. I think it makes, and I'm excited that Gordon's still involved. Like, it just, to me, like, if you remove everything about the history and just know, okay, this is IP that's art, iconic art on blockchain. It makes more sense to sit in a nonprofit with a board of like Gordon and Snowfro than it does under a corporation that's building the other side. It just seems like a much better fit to sit under a nonprofit than be held by for a for-profit company that's got VC money and, presumably attempting to get back to their $1 billion valuation someday. I don't think crypto, I guess, to that from a business standpoint, I don't think holding the CryptoPunks IP would help them accomplish that as far as growing the valuation of their company and accomplishing their goals. And I got to imagine this was a giant injection of capital will help them accomplish those goals.
Yeah, I got to think more because I have a lot of initial thoughts, but not sure how strongly I feel about them. So I'm going to marinate on this one for about 24 hours. But yeah, my initial reaction is, I don't know. It makes sense, but I'm sad. It bums me out in some ways. Just sign of the times. Like, but I think I'll try to cobble them together in my brain offline before I bring them on tomorrow, and we'll see what that happens. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, good stuff. Crypto moving in the right direction. S&P 500, feeling good about that. And I think we're going to continue to see these ecosystems grow. So I think it's, we're not getting, as I think Jack GK said yesterday, we're not getting less digital. So should be a good one. But That said, let's set everyone off in their day. Appreciate everyone coming through this morning. Abstract point split day. We'll see how we did this week and how that all went. But we'll talk to everybody bright and early tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody.
I lost my mouse. There it goes.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.